Right, welcome to the stream everyone. Today we're going to be doing West Ham versus Newport live commentary. The game kicks off at 7:45, I'm pretty sure. If it kicks off at 8, that's annoying. I don't even see it there. Yeah, 7:45. So we've got like loads of EFL Cup games today. We've got a few tomorrow. So if you want to see more stuff for like EFL Cup or Newport and West Ham streams, hit the subscribe button because we'll do quite a few throughout the season. But welcome to the stream CCA News. What we're going to do, we're going to go through the lineups and then we'll look at other stuff. So where is it? Should be down here somewhere. If not, then I'll find it on my phone, but I want to get it up on here, the lineups. Yeah, don't see the lights there, but it won't give me an option to click on any of these, especially this one. Normally does, but not today. So I guess I'm gonna have to find it on Twitter. So we'll start off with Newport actually. Don't know if they post their lineups on Twitter. Guess we're about to find out. Alright, it's the West Ham team. Here is the Newport team. Townsend in goal with Haynes. I don't know where any of these guys play, to be completely honest. But anyway, they have Haynes, Hawkins, O'Brien. I'm about to sneeze. McNamara, not sure how you pronounce that. Wilmot, Dolan, Sheehan, Amond, Whiteley and Abrahams. And then on the bench they have King, Ledbetter, Bennett, Collins, Maloney, Ekpiteta and Innes. Not sure if that's good. I know a couple of their players from their FA Cup run. And then this is the West Ham lineup. Roberto in goal, Zabaleta right back, Balbuena and Diop centre back, Cresswell left back, Sanchez, Wilshere and Fornals in midfield with Antonio. I'm not sure. Jetty striker. I'm not sure which wing Antonio and Snodgrass playing on. But they have Fabianski, Johnson, Ogbonna, Coventry, Rice, Anderson and Hilaire on the bench. So they're resting a few players. West Ham. They'll probably win, but Newport beat Leicester in the FA Cup last year, so they could do it again today in the Carabao Cup. Don't think they posted it anyway. Right, let's just not worry about that. Where is... Alright, there we go. We'll look at all the other fixtures for the EFL today. 6 more Champions League games as well. So we have Burton Albion versus Morecambe, Crewe versus Aston Villa, Grimsby versus Macclesfield, Leeds versus Stoke, Nottingham Forest versus Derby, which I was going to do commentary for, but there wasn't any commentary for it, unfortunately. But then Preston playing Hull, Rochdale v Carlisle, Sheffield United versus Blackburn, Bristol Rovers versus Brighton, Cardiff City versus Luton Town, Crawley Town versus Norwich City, and then Crystal Palace versus Colchester, Fulham v Southampton, Newport v West Ham, Oxford v Millwall, Plymouth v Reading, Southend v MK Dons, and Watford vs Coventry. Any other games? Montpellier being Lyon. EFL Trophy. Arsenal under 21s playing Northampton, Mansfield playing Everton under 21s, and 3 Champions League games. Can't really click on any of these, to be honest, so it won't give me an option to. Don't know why everyone's disliking the stream, because legit the title is fine, live commentary. If you go on here, Newport v West Ham, game starts 7:45, which is in 17 minutes. So I don't know why people are disliking it, to be completely honest. Let me just sort it out. Hopefully that's fine for when that starts. Make sure I turn off, because last time I left on there was just two voices at once. Anyway, whilst we do that, we're gonna look at some news for Bolton and Barry. There isn't any news apparently, but CNN Sporting Risk unable to proceed with the bid for the League One club. Barry facing exclusion from the English Football League after company attempted by club said it was unable to proceed with the takeover. Shakes have been given until 5 o'clock today to complete the deal. It's now 7:30, so 2.5 hours past that, and they haven't been able to get a deal. It's going to make League 2 very confusing if this does happen. I'm not sure if it is, it most likely is now. If it does, then League 2 will have like 6 clubs get promoted or something like that. Because they usually have 4 clubs getting promoted, but now like 6 getting promoted, because same thing's happening with Bolton. They don't have thingy. Let's just have a look at Bolton. I don't know what's happening with these clubs, to be completely honest. No, because there was a team. Let's look at EFL club scores. We've got August. Sheffield Wednesday haven't played their first round tie yet, and they're already playing the second round game. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen with this. There's probably a team that are waiting to play either Sheffield Wednesday or Bury that can't play it because it's just not there. No, it's not. We'll look at tomorrow's fixture in a minute, but let's just focus on this because hate them notifications randomly come up for no reason. Alright, what's this one? Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening, to be honest with it. Should have had news on it, what happened after 5, but we haven't had any news. Go on here, there's literally no news. Anyway, we'll look at the other EFL Cup fixtures now. We've got 10 minutes till kick-off, so... got 2 dislikes on the stream. So if you are still in the stream, you've got disliked it, then just wait for 10 minutes and then I'll put on the commentary and then you can undislike it. Because there's no real point disliking it, because there's no clickbait or anything in the thing. But anyway, tomorrow's fixtures, we have Burnley v Sunderland, Lincoln v Everton, which I'm going to be doing commentary for. Newcastle, Leicester, Rotherham v Sheffield Wednesday. So, oh wait, Sheffield Wednesday are playing, never mind. I never even noticed that. So, they've literally just been put in round 2 for free. Anyway, Bournemouth playing for a screen, QPR v Portsmouth and Swansea v Cambridge as well. So, I don't even know. What happened with Bolton? Did Bolton even play? We'll look at the result for Newport as well in round 1. I don't know where Bolton are on here, I can't even see them. I won't worry about that. Let's look at their last one, right? And they won at home. Alright, here we go. Newport. Gillingham v Newport. Full time was 2-2. Gillingham had 2 penalties. Wait, so they went 1-0 up with a penalty, and then Abraham scored in the 84th minute. And then Gillingham had a penalty in the 9th minute, which they scored. 3 minutes later, goal scored the second penalty. Got sent off, and then a minute later, Amon scored. And then they won 4-1 on penalties. So they had 3 penalties in the 90 minutes, and then they had another like 10 penalties. Bolton's squad is too small, they lost 5-2 to Rochdale. Let me have a look. Am I just blind then? Oh yeah, I am just blind, right. Well, that's how Gillingham did in their first round tie. They're playing West Ham. Not sure what my prediction is. But anyway, that's the West Ham side if you're just tuning in. Got 8 people in here. Most likely loads of them are going to be West Ham fans because they're in the Premier League and it's an away game at Newport in Wales. So most likely they'll be looking for something like this. But that's the West Ham team. Not sure the formation. Let me just have a look. I can't even see West Ham. There it is. Lineups, they are playing a 4-1-4-1. Roberto in goal, Diop, Balbuena centre back, Zabaleta right back, Cresswell left back, Sanchez CDM, Wilshere and Fornals at centre mid with Snodgrass on the left, Antonio on the right and Ajeti up top. And then Newport got on their lineup now. They're playing 4-2-2 with Townsend in goal, Halkins and O'Brien centre back, Haynes left back, McNamara right back, don't know how you pronounce that. And then Dolan and Wilmot at CDM with Sheehan and Whiteley at cam, and then Amond and Abrahams up top. I'm not sure what my prediction is. We'll have to wait and see though. I'm in neutral, just looking for info players. I think Newport could cause a shock result here. They did it against Leicester last year in the FA Cup. So don't see why they can't do it now. Gonna go on BBC Sport, can't even see it. There we go. I'm a neutral as well for this game. I'm not really bothered who wins. This was updated 8 minutes ago and they literally haven't put anything. Like, it's past the 5 PM deadline. We need news on what's happening with that. It's annoying that it won't let us click on any of these fixtures as well. Like, I would click on this game, but it just doesn't let you. Normally it does, so if we go on August, we go on the first round game that we did, which was Leeds Salford. Was Salford at home? I can't remember. Don't think they were. Yeah, they were, right. So we click on that, perfectly fine. We could go down here, we could look at the lineups like this. But for some reason, now we can't. But for any Leeds fans that come in here today, because a few of them came in like on the weekend and were complaining that I wasn't doing a Leeds stream. Just to show, we go on EFL Cup. The only 2 games are Crewe at Aston Villa. See here with the microphone thing. And then Newport West Ham. And then if we go down to the Leeds game, right here, there's no thing, so there's no commentary for that. There's only those 2 games. I chose Newport West Ham because I haven't done a West Ham game this season so far. I did 2 Aston Villas. I did Villa Everton on Friday, and then I did Tottenham Aston Villa on the first game of the season, so I thought I'd do that. Let me just... Please, can you do the Middlesbrough match on Saturday 12:30? Depends on what Premier League game's on at that time. That's just EFL Cup. They're playing like Derby, no, Bristol City, and then Saint Emmanuel. I probably will do that because I'm aiming to do a championship game every week, and I won't be doing. Is there a championship game on the Sunday? Not that matters because I'm not doing any streams. No, there isn't. So yeah, I'll do Middlesbrough Bristol City if there's commentary. I'm not sure if there will be. But no, some of the games are about to start. We've got 1 minute until kick-off. It's not letting me click on that for some reason. Oh, they have Bristol Rovers Brighton as well, but see, this is the list of commentaries, live commentaries. Just these three, so I can't do Leeds unfortunately. Next Arsenal game, probably 14th or 15th September. Won't be able to do North London Derby because it's my birthday on that day. Then we've got the international break. Then we've just got an Arsenal fixture, so it's so much easier. Watford Arsenal 4:30 Sunday. Yeah, I'll probably do that as the next Arsenal game. But I'll do a Europa League draw live thing on Friday, so if you want to see that, that's the next Arsenal related thing that I'll do. Has the game started? The game hasn't started yet, so we're just going to wait until the game starts, then we'll put on the commentary. Let me just go back on this screen. There you go, so we'll highlight that. Should update, yeah, it's updated for 9 Forest Derby. So when this starts, we'll put on the commentary. Literally every game started except this one. Has it started? Yeah, it has started, right. So we have this here. That should have the scoreboard thing with who has the ball and stuff like it usually does. Yeah, there we go. It's not going to say the actual player name, it'll just say the team that had the ball, unfortunately. But we're going to put on the commentary now. If you go on to enjoy this stream and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. But enjoy the first half, and I'll be speaking again at half time.
Tie against Man City. So this evening against West Ham, a West Ham side who themselves have been a little bit shaky this season, made a few changes for tonight's game. I'm sure that Newport will fancy their chances. I'll get my colleague Steve Pearson's thoughts on it. I'm Paul Shabakovic taking you through the action this evening. We are going to see a long throw from Newport, and they're going to launch this one straight into the West Ham penalty area. Early attack here for the home side, but that one is easily headed away by Balbuena, and in fact there may have been a push inside the box there. Steve Martin, our referee, spots that. So as I say, Steve, what do you think this evening? Do we see the Newport potentially creating a shock?
I don't see any reason why not in that sense. As I say, West Ham slightly mixed start to this season. I was expecting better things from them on the first day, but they were swept away by that strong City side, and then since then things have settled down a little bit. Sebastian Haller in form as I expected him to be after his efforts for Frankfurt last season, particularly not playing tonight. We accept one or two changes inevitably from West Ham, but I think they want to keep the momentum going down. They keep the positive vibe around the London Stadium, which is so important for them. But as you say, from a Newport County point of view, very difficult to see that this is an easy tie for West Ham, even though it's a League Two side. They're strong defensively and strong at home, particularly in these tournaments.
They certainly are, and they're trying to go on the attack again now. They're going to win themselves a free kick as well. There was just a slight nick there off Robert Snodgrass, and he's turning to his teammates straight away, saying that he was left a little bit isolated on the edge of the penalty area. It's just a bit of a leg out there from Snodgrass. And it wasn't too much in that one, but it was enough to bring down Tristan Abrahams, and now it's a great opportunity here for Newport. It's a free kick less than a few yards away from the left-hand edge of the penalty area as they look, so a right-footed in-swinger can certainly create some problems here for Roberto and his defence. And we'll just wait to see how Newport want to take this one. They haven't really got anyone for the short ball, so it looks like it's just going to be whipped straight into the mixer there, around about the 6-yard box. The ball does go straight in, but it's a little bit too close to the keeper, and in the end it's a comfortable save for Roberto.
I'll tell you what, it's a fabulous free kick though, isn't it? Somebody attacks the near post properly in that situation. He puts it right in the spot there, does Wilmot, and you look at it, actually there's some good defending from Diop. Just pushed the player away from it, made sure he couldn't make that run towards the near post, otherwise we could have seen a 1-0. That was a great free kick in, but it's some really good defending as well from West Ham.
It was, and West Ham needs to avoid giving away set pieces like that, because that's where Newport can hurt them. But it's the Hammers in possession now on the halfway line, down the left hand side with Cresswell, goes inside to Jack Wilshere. It's a big game for this for Jack Wilshere. He needs to get some form again, having joined West Ham at the beginning of last season and spent most of it out injured. And here's Zabaleta now on the right hand side with Snodgrass. Early ball played up towards Fornals. He's blocked at the edge of the area. Now it's back on the halfway line now with Carlos Sanchez. and he just goes short to Snodgrass as West Ham looks to try and build a bit of possession, but Sanchez is under pressure there. He's having to track back into his own half and eventually rolls the ball back to Balbuena and then all the way back to Roberto. Interesting, just looking at the West Ham side, there are changes, of course. You would expect them to make changes, but I would argue that their back four is almost their Premier League back four. So obviously Pellegrini feels as though he wants his defenders to carry on playing every game wherever they can.
Yeah, and it makes sense, doesn't it? As much as possible at the start of the season, if they're fit enough, if the stats and the feedback from the medical staff is showing that they're keeping the pace up, that they've got the momentum, they've got the fitness, no reason why not in that sense. And I think from West Ham's point of view, they want to take this competition fairly seriously, because they will see themselves as potential winners of this with the squad that they've got and the little bit of extra depth that they've now got, perhaps. And there's no reason why they shouldn't take this tournament seriously at all.
Absolutely not. And their manager, of course, certainly has a bit of previous with this competition. Pellegrini winning the competition in 2014 and 2016, although of course that was with Manchester City. But they'd love to be able to do that again with West Ham, and that certainly would be something just to help the West Ham fans in their sort of plight, because they're still a little bit bitter about the London Stadium. There still feels that perhaps some additional signings could have been made, but this season does look as though if they could get a bit more of a decent run in the league and potentially a cup run, that would certainly be a step forward for the Hammers. But 4.5 minutes gone, it's certainly looking better for Newport so far. They've pushed forward again now. They've got themselves a throw on the right hand side. Dan McNamara is up to take this one. Well, he in fact leaves it now, does McNamara, just trotting back towards his right back position. And coming across to take this is Ryan Haynes, who was actually taking the long throw in the first minute from the left hand side, so he does look to be the Newport long throw specialist. And there's 5-6 Newport players waiting in and around the penalty area for this long throw, but they've done a bit of a decoy there. It's just a short throw. Cross coming in now, charged down by Wilshere. Second cross coming in. It was Robbie Wilmot with the second ball as well, just a bit too close to that near post, and a comfortable save in the end for Roberto.
Yeah, it changes around a little, wasn't it? Whether went through all the motions for the long throw, got the towel out, wiped the ball down, everything else, and then do something a little bit different, try and stretch this West Ham defence, and it kind of worked in that sense. They got the ball in. Wilmot's cross in the end, as you say, a little bit short, but again, he put it into a position where if somebody's attacking it at pace and power, there's an opportunity.
Well, there could be an opportunity now. Amon just picks the ball up on the halfway line, then rolls it in towards Abrahams. Abrahams gets to the edge of the area. He waited a little bit too long to get his shot away. He does eventually get his shots away. It is charged down. It just sort of trickles into the penalty area in the end, and it's hooked away by Zabaleta. But that looked really promising from Abrahams and Amon.
Yeah, it was. He just got into a bit of a cul-de-sac on the edge of the box, didn't he, at one point there, when it looked like he got a clear shot, and in the end there were probably better opportunities right and left of him. But young lad, take it yourself, why not try and make a name for yourself early on in the game? But I would have liked to have seen him get his head up there and look at what the options were around him.
Just got, as you said, got a little bit bogged down, and again it was Haynes on that left hand side with the throw, just a short throw out, but the ball is played back to him, and he tries the left footed cross into the box, which gets a bit of a deflection at the edge of the 6-yard box from Balbuena. It now drops to Wilmot. Wilmot puts a cross in, headed away by Sanchez this time, and hooked a little bit further away by Snodgrass. This lands on the halfway line. Ayeti now gets it out towards the left hand side for Fornals, and he plays it outside of the boot towards Antonio, who goes down, and he's got a problem here, Mikhail Antonio. We need to stop play without a doubt. I'm sure that if West Ham won't kick the ball out, hopefully Newport will. Antonio thankfully is back up on his feet, but he needs to be substituted straight away. Yeah, he's showing that the hamstring's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, sorry Paul, hamstring's gone there. Yeah, straight away, as you say. He sets off really, really well. He's going down the inside left channel. He's well away of the defender, and then it's almost like he's just got a shot in the back of the leg, and you know straight away exactly what that is. No question, he knows straight away as well. At first time I thought he'd slipped because the ball had gone in front of him and McNamara was coming back, but then as you saw him hit the deck, you knew straight away, and he shakes his head, grimace on his face. It's not one of those ones that's not ridiculously painful in that sense, but he knows that the muscle's gone, and that's the end of his night.
Absolutely. I mean, well, a couple of his teammates actually put their hands up to say, well, he's been tripped, because there was no reason for him to fall where he did, but you could certainly see from that replay it was nowhere near getting a touch on it, and a player who probably was hoping to have a bit of a time off this evening. Certainly Pellegrini would have liked to have given Felipe Anderson a bit more time off. Looks like the Brazilian's going to get an early introduction into this game.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, and a big loss as well, Antonio, because that's not, if that's gone, that's not an injury for a week or two, is it? That's going to be a few weeks before we see him again, one would have thought, and a big hole in that squad for Pellegrini, as you say, as the season goes forward. 7 minutes into the game, already the instructions being given out for Felipe Anderson. Great player to have on. There's no problem with that at all, that he will come into the side and be equally as good, if a little different, to Antonio. But you just kind of thought today as well, that power, that pace that Antonio has would just help against this league.
It would, yeah. There was definitely a scope for Antonio having a good game this evening. The whole West Ham bench, by the way, is Coventry, Ogbonna, Johnson, Rice, Anderson, who's just come on, of course, Haller as well, and Fabianski, the first keeper. So there's a sort of mixture of young and old on that bench, really. Coventry and Johnson, the two young players, Ogbonna, Rice, Haller, and Fabianski, and of course, and Anderson, we've just seen go on the field, the more experienced players. But goalless so far, Rodney Parade, 8.5 minutes gone. On this service as well, you can also catch coverage of the Crew versus Aston Villa game. We have had an early goal in that game as well. Aston Villa taking the lead through Ezri Konza. It is 1-0 to the Premier League side in that game. The Premier League side in this game haven't really got going yet, and that's injury to Michail Antonio is certainly going to get them thinking. But at the moment, it is Jack Wilshere in possession on the halfway line, and he rolls the ball out towards the left-hand side for Felipe Anderson. Just plays it inside now for Carlos Sanchez, back to Issa Diop, and West Ham just starting to get a bit more of a feel on the ball. It's a decent surface as well at Rodney Parade, it has to be said. Start of the season, you would expect it to be in good nick, but it does seem to move around pretty slick here, the ball, so that will certainly suit West Ham style, and indeed Newport. They like to get it down and play whenever they can, but it's played into the penalty area now for Snodgrass, just a little bit overhit for the Scottish international there, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, he didn't want to stretch and pull, did he? Again, you could tell there was maybe a little thought of what's happened to Antonio, and it was just a case of, okay, we'll be pragmatic about this, it's gone away from me, and out for a goal kick.
So at Rodney Parade, it is goalless after the first 10 minutes or so, but it's been a bright start for the home side. A couple of opportunities to get the ball in from throw-ons and free kicks, although goalkeeper Roberto has been wise to it every time. Nothing to surprise the West Ham keeper so far. There was also a good ball from Patrick Amon to let in Tristan Abrahams, but his effort at the edge of the area was charged down. He didn't really look up in time there, Abrahams, to see what other options were available. There has been a bit of a problem for West Ham, though. Michail Antonio chasing a through ball from Pablo Fornals, pulled up and fell over, effectively grabbing his hamstring, so he had to be substituted and replaced by Felipe Anderson. It's just getting going, this game now, but it is so far 0-0.
We've seen another inadvertent injury, this one for Abrahams on the Newport side of things. Just took an accidental whack on the back of the head on that occasion from Carlos Sanchez. The two went up for a header, and as they landed, Sanchez's foot came right down on top of the head of Abrahams, purely accidental. He wasn't even looking at him at the time, but fortunately the striker for Newport is okay. Another long throw here from Haynes, flicked on at the near post. This time Roberto will come for it and does well. The ball was looped up in the air, although again he's whacked his own defender in the back, and we have another player down injured at the moment. I think it might be Aaron Cresswell, who's been left in a crumpled heap by his own goalkeeper, but you'll put it down as good goalkeeping. If there's players in front of you, clear them out of the way and get the ball.
Absolutely, jump with that knee up. That's what we were always taught back in the day. Of course, these days that's not even allowed anymore, is it? But on the flip,
allegedly.
On the flip side, though, goalkeepers supposedly get a lot more protection, but perhaps a bit too much protection sometimes, whereby if a keeper drops the ball, there's almost an assumption that he must have been fouled, rather than thinking that maybe he just wasn't very good at coming out to claim the cross. But throw on to Newport now down their left-hand side. It's a long way from the halfway line here, the home side. They need to just try and get a bit more of the ball. They had a really bright start, and West Ham are just starting to see a bit more possession, but there's certainly not been any work for Nick Townsend in the Newport goal as yet, as a long ball is played down the left-hand side for Abrahams to chase, but that one slices out, and it is going to be a throw to West Ham.
Well, you see it again, and the only attack that they've had was the injury to Antonio, wasn't it? That's the only time West Ham really have got anywhere around the penalty area. The other one, the pass to Snodgrass, was overhit anyway, so it wasn't really a chance around the area. But that one, Antonio would have been clear through on goal, absolutely, with a great opportunity. Unfortunately, the injury stopped him in his tracks. But other than that, I've seen very little possession for West Ham, never mind in the right kind of places. And I think they just wanted to settle it down. They'll feel now that they've, weathered the storm in terms of the first 10 minutes from Newport. They weren't really under much threat. Yeah, Roberto's had a couple of touches, but he hasn't made a save properly yet, has he? Dealt with a couple of crosses, and that's all, which were into dangerous areas. So I suppose from a West Ham point of view, you look at this feeling quite confident after the first 10 minutes, but plenty for Newport to build on as well.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a stalemate in midfield in the last few minutes, but absolutely I think both sides can draw some positives. West Ham could say, well, that was a good start from Newport, they're probably not going to get much better, so we can certainly try and build on that. And that's a lovely ball out by Wilshere towards Cresswell on the left hand side. His cross is charged down, but it lands at the feet of Felipe Anderson, He just plays it back quickly towards Fornals, and then square towards Carlos Sanchez, back over towards the left-hand side now for Felipe Anderson. Gets the ball into the box, and peeling away was Ayeti. I'm not sure he needed to. I think he could have stayed where he was. He might have got the ball there, but it's been quickly cleared by Matt Dolan towards the halfway line, headed back now by Issa Diop, and goalkeeper Roberto is out of his penalty area just to join in the passing exchange. It's now back on the halfway line with Felipe Anderson, and the Hammers now just looking a little bit more confident on the ball, but they still need to try and get it further forward now with Felipe Anderson. He's got some space down the left hand side. He plays an absolutely perfect outside of the boot pass towards Cresswell. It drops to Fornals with the strike. It's a bouncing ball that hits off the post. The goalkeeper doesn't get a touch, and then it's quickly cleared away by Mark O'Brien towards the halfway line, but Balbuena keeps the move alive now for West Ham. It's Jack Wilshere. Poor ball from Wilshere out towards Zabaleta on the right hand side, and now all of a sudden there can be a counter attack here for Newport County. Bringing the ball forward is Corey Whiteley. He runs into trouble though, and it's going to be a throw on to Newport.
Yeah, lovely move that from West Ham at the other end, wasn't it? As you say, perfect ball through from Felipe Anderson. He tried to thread a couple through just before that, finally got this one right. Perfect to Cresswell, who actually was looking up as if to say, well, who am I going to pass to? There's nobody attacking that near post, but he found the right ball behind it towards Fornals. You say he doesn't really connect with it second time. He allows the ball to get away, but I suppose you say, well, he gets it on target, which is the key thing. Unfortunately for him, comes back off the upright, but this is better from West Ham now. They're starting to turn the pace up now.
And here they go again with a ball from Wilshere out towards the right hand side. It's headed away. Wilshere going for the second ball. Crunching talent challenge there at the edge of the area. Wilshere loses his balance, but the loose ball still ends up with Robert Snodgrass. Plays a short one along the ground to Fornals. Fornals at the edge of the area, just getting the ball away from Matt Dolan, and then back towards Snodgrass. Fornals again, now to Zabaleta. Right hand edge of the penalty area. Fornals on the overlap to Zabaleta. Did he keep it in play? Well, his cross goes straight to Matt Dolan, who clears it away anyway, but in any case the ball was out for a goal kick, although the wag of the finger there from Zabaleta suggests that he doesn't think so.
Well, I mean, from the angle that we saw, I wasn't sure it was out either, but the assistant is on that side and had a good look at it, so I will bow to his better view than we had, but I was certainly with Zabaleta at that moment, that he just got to it in time before it went out.
As I say, it wasn't the best angle, the one we had to see the exact line, but it has to be the whole ball over the line, almost like you're giving a goal in that sense, so I'm not sure there was enough to say that, but of course there is a theory going around now, of course, that the EFL referees are going to become the best referees in the country, of course, because they haven't got any backup, have they? They haven't got VAR. They have to make all their decisions live. You know, we've already seen it with Premier League linesmen not putting their flag up because they know they can be told in the next 10 seconds if there's an offside anyway. So, as I say, these EFL referees now very much going to be at the sharp end in terms of making decisions that have no VAR correction. But that's a really good spin and turn on the right hand side from Ayeti. He's not seen too much of the ball, but now he's moving towards the edge of the area. Back heels the ball now towards Snodgrass. Snodgrass on his left foot fires one towards goal. It gets a slight deflection on the way as well, which just kills some of the power, and it makes it an easier save for Nick Townsend. Yeah,
it was a skidding one. The surface looks quite damp. Actually, I'm not sure whether it's been heavily watered or if there's been a bit of rain around Newport this afternoon, but it just seemed to be skidding a little on the surface just to begin with, and you say that one just catching a deflection to the pace of it. Comfortable save, but there were a couple of players again at the far post for West Ham to look at, and maybe Snodgrass should have looked up and gone for that option on that occasion, but he didn't. He went for the cross-come shot, which maybe with the full power might have caused Townsend some problems, and maybe, as we say, with this damp surface, it's not a bad idea either.
Yeah, well, about 7-8 minutes ago I said that Nick Townsend hasn't had any work yet. He's quickly becoming the more overworked keeper now in the last few minutes, isn't he? Certainly more happening in front of his goal now as West Ham look to build again with Jack Wilshere. Goes across towards Sanchez, now back towards the halfway line for Balbuena and Issa Diop. Diop across to Felipe Anderson, and there's a couple of options. Anderson tries a very ambitious ball which almost works out, and in the end sliding in there was Aaron Cresswell. Ironically, he didn't actually need to do that. He probably could have just stood on his feet. He might have had a better chance of winning that off Josh Sheehan, but he slides in and it goes out for a goal kick to Newport in the end. But it's been a good few minutes now since Newport have had any kind of possession, really, and even longer since they've had any possession in the West Ham half.
Yeah, just struggling to get the foothold back on the game again, aren't they? They had the better of the first 10 minutes. West Ham have the better of the last 7 or so as we tick over 17 minutes. So even start so far. But again, he said Townsend, he's had a half chance, and the scuffed shot from Fornals, which you'd say, well, okay, got it on target, but you might say it was a bit lucky that it did end up on target because he didn't hit it properly in that sense. So it's been pretty even so far, I think, in what West Ham have thrown at Newport and what Newport have thrown at the Hammers as well. But you just kind of see that West Ham now able to build from the back, aren't they, which they couldn't do in the first 10 minutes. But now that Newport have that initial push has gone, they're getting up to the halfway line a lot easier and then being able to start and build.
They are, absolutely. And West Ham at the moment just having a bit of possession on the halfway line. Dolan running into Jack Wilshere there. Welcome to the Football League there from Dolan on Wilshere. But looks like the West Ham man is going to be okay. A bit of a loose header towards his own goal from Robbie Wilmot there. And the loose ball now, well, as calm as you like there from Ryan Haynes. He just flicks the ball past Robert Snodgrass, finds a bit of space and then plays the ball up to the halfway line. But West Ham coming in straight away as Fornals has stepped on his man there. Referee Steve Martin says he has, and it is going to be a free kick to Newport just inside their own half. Fornals offering the hand there to apologise to the number 10. I think it was she in there in the middle, wasn't it, who got trodden on? Not too much intent from Fornals, but the referee's got to give that, really, hasn't he?
No, purely accidental, as you're saying. Sheehan made the most of it just to make sure the referee had seen it, but I think he already had. He was just waiting to see where the ball went before he then gave the decision one way or the other. But yeah, comfortable bit of play from Haynes as well. Particularly impressed by him over the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game, and he's made a couple of decent runs, a couple of blocking runs as well down that left hand side from a defensive point of view, and then composed and calm at the moment. So he just needs to make sure he's not caught out of possession. He's just drifting a little bit forward and there's a little gap behind him, but other than that, impressed so far.
Yeah, impressed so far. A potential shock at between Crawley and Norwich. Crawley have taken an early lead against Premier League Norwich City there. It's 1-0 in that game. There haven't been too many goals scored as yet across the EFL Cup this evening. Just that one we told you about with Crewe, a goal down at home to Villa. Rochdale are a goal up at home to Carlisle, and that really are the only goals that we can see so far. All these games are 7:45 kickoffs. It's just coming up to 20 minutes gone in our game, goalless, as well as West Ham now having a real lion's share of possession and just looking to try and get towards that Newport penalty area again, with Jack Wilshere playing it across now towards Carlos Sanchez, back towards Issa Diop, and now it's with Felipe Anderson. Just trying to get past Wilmot there, trying to get that ball back as well, but that one's been quickly won back by Dolan, and it's McNamara who plays it back towards goalkeeper Nick Townsend. Long clearance from him up towards the halfway line, headed on there by Amond, and Abraham's nearly getting the second ball, but then there's a bit of a collision with the referee giving a free kick in favour of West Ham.
Yeah, it was just like Fowles said, Diop going up for it along with Abrahams, the two colliding in the air, but always going to be given. But Patrick Amond again winning the good header to set up that situation and give his strike partner a bit of a half a chance of getting involved with the second ball. But we're just looking at it when they were defending there, Newport, you end up with three players incredibly narrow inside the centre circle. They've got the two strikers and then dropping in behind them is Dolan as well, and they make a little triangle in the middle, so there's no way for Wilshere or anybody to get out through the middle. It's got to go wide to Zavaleta, it's got to come out to Cresswell on this left hand side. So there is plenty of space for West Ham to attack out wide, but there's nothing at the minute through the middle.
No, nothing at all, as you said. It really is saturated in that midfield. There's 70-30 possession now in the last minutes for West Ham, so they really are starting to dominate in terms of keeping the ball. They just got to do more with it, as Snodgrass now on his left foot coming in from that right hand side, playing it square to Felipe Anderson. A bit of a heavy touch, but that still helps him in a way to get that one out towards Cresswell. So good on the ball. Felipe Anderson gets it back and then rolls it in towards we rolled it in towards the penalty area there for Snodgrass. He couldn't quite control it. It's cleared up towards the halfway line. Abrahams can't control it for Newport either, and it's played back by Balbuena. Preston taking a lead against Hull City there in an all-championship clash, 1-0 in that game as well. But West Ham now just slowing things down again and keeping the ball inside their own half. At Rodney Parade, it is still goalless, but West Ham really have turned on the possession since we last spoke. They've got a lot more of the ball now, and they've certainly pushed back at Newport. We're having to do a lot more defending, but in fairness, they're doing it pretty well. There have been a couple of efforts going in on goal, but goalkeeper Nick Townsend has been fairly comfortable with all of it. The worry for Michael Flynn and his coaching staff will be that Newport haven't really crossed the halfway line in some time, and West Ham really are starting to get more and more confident on the field. But as it stands, it's a bit of a midfield stalemate, and West Ham still needs to do a little bit more to try and put pressure on Newport's goal. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, West Ham in possession, but inside their own half at the moment. They're forced to give away a throw-in. Snodgrass a little bit tight on the the sideline just for a second there, and couldn't find a way out of his own half. And ends up running it out, so that allows Haynes to come forward. Too far away from one of those long throws inside the penalty area. He tries to thread the ball inside through the centre, but bisects a couple of Newport County players, and West Ham will head off in the opposite direction with Felipe Anderson, who seems to be the one that Newport haven't got to grips with yet since he came on as substitute for the injured Antonio in the very early stages of this game. He seems to be one who's able to find space in the pockets away from the yellow shirts.
Yes, he does, and I mean that's what he does in the Premier League. So you'd imagine that dropping down 3 or 4 divisions and doing the same thing, it shouldn't be a problem for him. As West Ham now potentially on a bit of pressure there, as Diop is robbed of the ball, and Abrahams now can break into the box, plays it square to Amond, who has to score, and he hits it straight at the goalkeeper. And then West Ham are looking desperately for an offside flag, which I don't think ever came. And out of absolutely nothing, Newport County should be in front in this game. There's no doubt about it. As Diop miscontrols it, Abrahams runs into him. I'm not even sure if he get a foul for that in the Premier League. Lovely outside of the boot pass, but then Amond, I don't know why he's just trying to be so nonchalant. He's just trying to sort of stroke the ball. All he's got to do is, sort of welly at League 2 style, and it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's a bad miss, isn't it, unfortunately for Amond, as you say.
He's not offside either.
No, he wasn't. He was well onside. In fact, Diop coming back, I think, also played him on, as well as the centre half in the middle, who he was just sort of dancing around on the side, on the edge of the box to found the space, and that is a really bad miss. If you get to these cup competitions, you have to score goals. He's a guy who does score goals. We know that, Patrick Hammond. We know the quality he has in League 2 and in the cup competition.
He loves scoring in the cup there. Yes. Yeah, I mean, since the beginning of last season, he's scored 19 in 50 league games, but he's scored, I think, something like 12 in 16 cup games. I mean, he really is a cup player, and certainly didn't live up to it on that occasion. But in the meantime, we've gone over the halfway point. It's 24 minutes gone at Rodney Parade. Newport County 0, West Ham United 0, and it will be Steve to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, so we'll make that kind of equal then, I suppose. West Ham have hit the post with Fornals with a scuffed shot that bounced back. Amon's had a scuffed shot when he should have scored. That Roberto, he was in the right place, I suppose you'd say, for the West Ham keeper. We can't give him too much credit for the save. It was straight at him, as we say, but you have to be there to make it. So we'll give him the bit of credit for that. But it should have been a goal from Amon. Should have been a better strike from Fornals at the other end as well. So we might be saying 1-1 in this game. As it stands, we still stand at 0-0 as West Ham come forward again with Zabaleta down the right hand side. He has to come back inside though for the moment, and Fornals facing his own goal 40 yards or so away from the Newport goal, doesn't have an option to get out there, as Newport's front 2 again trying to put a shift in to keep these West Ham players penned around the halfway line. They get it forward to Anderson, who's brought down on this occasion. Challenge comes in from McNamara, but he was a little late. The Premier League pace, and Guile just led him into a free kick there on that occasion. But we did say Felipe Anderson needed controlling. That's not quite what I had in mind, but it might help a little, I suppose.
Well, he's not in possession of the ball anymore, is he? So he's worked in that sense. But of course, the more you do that, the more chances are you're going to start giving cards away. And Felipe Anderson's still going to be there. If he runs past you again and you bring him down, then you're going to get yourself sent off. So certainly for the first or second time, it might be an idea. But West Ham are starting to see more and more of the ball now. But in fairness, they're not having it easy to get to the penalty area either.
No, it's all around the halfway lines again. They try and find Cresswell on the left hand side. Felipe Anderson this time with the overhit ball that runs out of play for another Newport County throw in midway inside their own half, so another little breathing space for them as McNamara this time with ball in hand will look forward down the line. Some movement in front of him, gets a little bit of help from Sheehan, who will just hoof one downfield. It might work, it might drop to Amon inside the penalty area. Well, it nearly does, and he at least forces Diop to give away the corner. So industrial strength attacking from Newport, but it gives them the set piece.
Yeah, Diop's not taking any chances there. As soon as he got near Amon, he sort of put his arm out just to make sure that he could make the header, and then puts it out for a corner. It's got to be careful there, Diop. I mean, he had both he was almost throttling Amon for a split second there. It was almost as if to say, look, let me head this, otherwise I am going to grab you around the neck.
It was a little bit. It was an unusual way of dealing with an attacker. Amon wasn't bothered. He's not the kind of player that's going to go falling around on the floor when he's touched in that sense. But nevertheless, corner kick comes in towards the far post. Won again by a Newport header. There's a stretch in the centre. It's the captain O'Brien who was in there, but he just couldn't quite reach it, making a nuisance of himself in front of Roberto. He was onside.
He was onside. That's the second time that Newport have had a chance from inside the 6-yard box or just outside the 6-yard box where they're onside. side, and they haven't taken it. If you're playing against a Premier League team, you've got to take those chances, because the law of averages tells you they're going to get their chance sooner or later as well. But that's encouraging for Newport after a long spell of West Ham pressure. They've had 2 very good chances to score now.
Yeah, they're certainly coming back into the game, and you would say overall now have had the better of the opportunities. Then on that one, O'Brien was stretching full length. He couldn't get there, so he didn't miss the ball, just couldn't quite reach it. But had he got a toe end on that, you think that Roberto would have been stranded on the edge of the 6-yard box. But as it happened, he wasn't, and West Ham will come away on the other side. And there's a great ball over the top towards Cresswell, who lifts it far post, just gets too much on it really in the end, and Snodgrass can't get onto it, and Newport are able to clear. But again, that connection between Felipe Anderson and Aaron Cresswell working to perfection.
Yeah, it was working really well down that left-hand side. Felipe Anderson just blending into the game straight away, really, isn't it? Almost seamless when he came on. But just seeing a free kick there given against West Ham, maybe a little bit unlucky there, Balbuena. It's almost like Sanchez or Balbuena, neither of them committed a foul on their own, but the two of them together, probably there was just about enough contact to say that Abrahams was brought down.
Yeah, I think the referee probably more for the pulling, as you say, from Sanchez rather than the foul, or rather than the tackle, I should say, from Balbuena. But either way, it is a free kick to Newport, but inside their own half of the field, so no immediate threat to the West Ham goal. Free kick is taken short towards Haynes, who will lift it left-footed, long downfield again, headed away by Zabaleta, but Newport back in possession again, although the pass forward is overhit by around about 20 yards in terms of it thundering down that left-hand side, and goes straight out of play for a throw-in. On that occasion, Whiteley had no chance to bring that one in, although he had got himself into a good position out wide on the left-hand side behind Zabaleta, who pushed forward. But on this occasion, it's just a throw for the former Manchester City man, and he'll get it back off a Newport foot here as it spins back into his half of the field. But Zabaleta's ball forward is poor, and Newport will win it back straight away, although they've been forced all the way back to their keeper via Kyle Hawkins just outside the penalty area. So Townsend will knock it long downfield, easily headed away by Diop on this occasion. But again, it's Newport who win it back on halfway, as they seem to be doing quite regularly. And then McNamara is a little slow to react. Fornals gets a challenge in on the fullback. And of the defenders, McNamara seems to be the one who's feeling a little under pressure at the moment.
Yes, there's a lot more seems to be happening down that left, possibly because you've got Fornals, Felipe Anderson sort of floating, and you've got the pacey Aaron Cresswell on the right. You've got all the experience of Zabaleta, which is a polite way of saying he's not as quick, so they're not going to send as much of the ball over to him. Although, just as I say that, they do move over towards the right-hand side.
Yeah, he's a long way from goal, though. He will go on the overlap, though, will Zabaleta down that right-hand side, but play goes inside towards Wilshire. Tries a first-time ball, looking for Cresswell on that left-hand side, but headed away this time, and Newport County could break down the right-hand side. Wilmot's looking for some support. He tries to find Abrahams. It's blocked out, but he gets it back. This time a long ball over the top, looking towards Amond on the left-hand edge of the penalty. He's up against Zabaleta, and he's beaten him as well, as the Newport County man does well to keep possession. Just rolls it back towards Whiteley, and in the end the momentum of the attack has been lost, but then there's a foul by Snodgrass on Haynes, who looks at the referee, looks at the sky, looks down at Haynes on the floor, as if to say, really? For that? Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah. It breathed on him very
It
heavily.
is. I mean, I suppose Snodgrass would say, I've seen Premier League referees that don't give that, so I'm really surprised that you have, ref, and I'm really surprised that the League 2 defender's gone down as easily as he has. But that's the situation that we find ourselves in, and it's a really good opportunity now for Newport to get players into the box.
And it's very windy in that corner of Rodney Parade as the ball is out on that left-hand side now for Newport. In front of the stand opposite the pictures we're seeing. The ball goes all the way across. It's come to Amon. Oh, he doesn't take it though, the first attempt, and he should have had the shot. His control was poor. He was looking across the middle too much, wasn't concentrating on the ball. But Newport still have possession down the right-hand side as Whiteley whips one into the near post. Oh, it's off Diop, and it flashes behind Roberto, who'd come out behind him, bounces across the face of goal and out of play for another corner.
Well, certainly Amon should have scored, and then Diop almost scored an own goal here as he slices that one. He's just lucky that he's got that toe end to it, so as he's hit it, it just curls away a little bit from goal. If he hits that, in fact, I take it all back, he's actually shinned it past his own keeper, and he was lucky that the ball was curving away from the post, because that was curving in, wasn't too far away. So here comes the corner kick now, headed away by Balbuena.
Yeah, it is headed away. There's a there would have been a chance for a break, but the referee decides Ayete just pushed on the back of the Newport player.
Tell you what, this referee's been a little bit pedantic here, Stephen Martin. I wasn't too sure. We'll see from this replay whether we would always expect that to be given as a free kick. I don't think so. Again, I can think of many a Premier League referee there in that situation would say it's jostling for position there, but Ayete's been given as the free kick, and he's probably thinking, I thought England was supposed to have physical football. What's going on here? I've touched the player barely, and it's been given as a free kick against me.
Yeah, crafty bit of play from Dolan on that occasion. He should have made a meal of the contact. There was some contact with him, and Ayete certainly looked at the player to see where he was, just to try and ease him out of the way, but I do think there wasn't too much contact on him there, certainly not enough to warrant a free kick, but such it is, and it will be in a good position as well for Newport County. Dolan is one of the men over it at the moment as Roberto gets his four-man wall sorted out. It's a decent strike as well, but straight into the hands of Roberto on this occasion, so no danger really for the West Ham keeper in the end.
At Rodney Parade, it's still goalless between Newport County and West Ham United, but Newport have just had a little spell themselves, having been pushed back into their own half and had very little possession for around 10 minutes. They've just started to see a bit more of the ball. They've had a couple of set pieces and a couple of really hairy moments for the West Ham goalkeeper Roberto. One was when a cross came in from the right hand side. It was actually Amon who should have controlled it better and got a shot away, but he couldn't quite do that. Rolled it back to a teammate. The cross came in and it was sliced by Diop with the shin, very close to scoring an own goal there. There was also a great opportunity for Amon when he broke into the box, and for O'Brien as well after a corner kick when the ball was floated back in towards him, but he just missed the ball at the edge of the 6-yard box. But Newport are coming back strong. It's still 0-0.
It's West Ham on the attack though now along the left hand side. Fornals with some good chest control, plays it inside to Felipe Anderson, who lifts one into the penalty area, doesn't quite get there for Zabaleta, and players lunge in to clear the ball away. Then there's a dive by a Newport player inside the box. Referee quite rightly tells him to get up, and West Ham have possession down the right hand side with Snodgrass. He comes back to Wilshere on this occasion, plays it square. Sanchez might fancy his chances for a shot, but sliding players in front of him from Newport make him think again as Wilshere has it right hand side, back out wide to Snodgrass again, tries to come onto his left foot, then has to come back inside. Wilshere wants space, he'll curve one towards the far post. It was in the vicinity of Aaron Cresswell, but he got a little bit too much on it in the end, and it bobbles harmlessly behind for a goal kick. And again, a couple of good opportunities this time for West Ham. We've just seen some stats on the screen while Paul was doing that little update there that suggested that the possession vastly in favour of West Ham, but the chances created, the shots at goal, the touches inside the opposition box, all about even so far.
Well, in that case, you have to really tip your hat to Newport and say that they're doing very, very well in terms of not having much of the ball. But if anything, we could almost criticise Newport, saying that they've actually had really good chances to score. The only chance the West Ham really have had is that strike from Fornals, which hit the post, and he didn't hit that cleanly. When we look at the Amon chance, we look at the Abraham chance, we look at Mark O'Brien, who got that ball inside the 6-yard box, and that second Amon chance we just saw a moment ago. Really, Newport should be leading in this game.
Yeah, they should. They certainly had the better of the opportunities we have seen. West Ham continue to dominate possession, but again they find their way blocked 25 yards from goal, and the clearance somehow finds its way to Abrahams, who does really well to release the ball down the right hand side. As again Wilmot comes forward, there's players sliding in from West Ham, it bounces around, but then Diop tries to clear it away. He's furious with himself because it drops straight to Dolan as a poor ball forward in the end. Unfortunately, as far as West Ham are concerned, Wilmot ends up in a bit of a cul-de-sac down the right hand side, then gives away a free kick, kicks the ball away, has a couple of words with the linesman as he comes past. Linesman shakes his head as if to say, well, what do you want me to give on that occasion? Clear foul on Cresswell, free kick West Ham. Yeah,
free kick to West Ham. They'll be quite glad of that, but it just gives them an opportunity to try and clear their line, slow things down again. Just looking at a couple of the scores elsewhere, Villa are now 2-0 up away at Crewe after Konza's goal. Hurahan got the second one for Aston Villa there. Nottingham Forest lead by 2-0 in the Brian Clough derby against Derby there at the City Ground. It's Oxford 0 and Millwall 1-1 between Plymouth and Reading. Preston now 2-1 up against Hull, a couple of goals in that game. Rochdale 2-0 up against Carlisle. Sheffield United leading Blackburn by 1-0. Just looking up at a couple of other Premier League teams, and no other goals I could to speak of. Crawley still leading against Norwich, and Watford I think are just about to take the lead, or have just taken the lead at home to Coventry.
Yeah, so no massive shocks so far, really. Looking
just the Crawley Norwich one, really.
The Crawley one is the only one that might sneak in there, but one up at the moment, just one goal between them. But in our game, still the potential here for a bit of something for Newport County again in a cup competition. been predominantly the FA Cup that's been the main beneficiary of their efforts and expertise. But for the moment, it's a free kick that the home side have just inside their own half of the field. Well, it is now. Finally, the ball's been put down. It's been knocked forward about 15 yards from where it actually happened before Dolan will take the free kick just inside his own half of the field. Look across Michael Flynn, who was on the sideline, now on the bench for a moment or two, getting some discussion with his fellow coaches. The free kick comes in, it's headed on towards Amond. He can't get there, drops to Abrams inside the box. He tries to turn and shoot, but his shot is blocked again. West Ham struggling to clear their lines though from the edge of their own penalty area, and in the end the ball comes away off Anderson and out of play for a throw in to Newport, which they won't rush to take on this occasion. They're thinking about whether it's going to be the long throw from Haynes, but he would have to come from one side of the field to the other. So on this occasion it looks like Wilmot will take it short instead, although we're still waiting to see if the ball will come in. Eventually it is thrown in short. It was by by the fullback McNamara in the end, who now puts a cross into the box. Abrams can't get there, almost drops for Wilmot as well. It's still inside the box, nobody clearing. They're all claiming handball against each other. Diop still screaming about it as West Ham do clear it down their left hand side, but they're still not away from danger, and Anderson gives away the ball. Good challenge down the right from Wilmot into the box. Cross comes in, might fall for Amon, might fall for Dolan, but he was just falling over, and then it hits Abraham inside the box. Surely he was offside on that occasion. The ball's been cleared downfield, and yes, it is going to be brought back for an offside decision.
You really can't fault Newport's effort there. I mean, a superb challenge there from Robbie Wilmot. It looked like he was going to lose the ball there, but he just slid in, and when this shot comes in, yeah, he's just offside. There is Tristan Abrahams, I should say, and that's cleared away, but I think the referee spotted that in the end.
But only just offside, because Philip Anderson was wandering around in his own penalty area, not controlling what was happening in front of him at all, and there was a handball by Abrahams in the build-up. The West Ham players were quite right.
Yes, they were.
To complain.
I was going to say whether it's intentional or not, but of course we know that from the start of this season it makes no difference at all, does it? It's whether or not it just strikes the hand.
Only if it leads to a goal-scoring opportunity. He says, putting on his referee's hat.
Yeah, well, of course. I do forget. I'm with a qualified official in the studio this evening.
Only just. As Anderson comes forward down the left-hand side, Philip Anderson inside wants to try the shot, but McNamara is snapping at his heels all the way across, and eventually it's cleared away to Zabaleta on that right hand side. There's Snodgrass again, but he's almost on top of Zabaleta, so there's no room for him to move into, but he does find space to get a cross in. It's headed away this time by Hawkins out of the penalty area. Abrams tries to clear. Sanchez complaining again to the referee about the treatment he got from the Newport player, but the referee waves play on as West Ham still have possession. Felipe Anderson's short ball to Snodgrass now pops up on the left hand side. Here's Cresswell. He's looking for options in front of him. There aren't too many in the end. And Newport back in numbers with no space between midfielders and defenders on the edge of the penalty area. So West Ham will have to find a way through out wide, you would think. And they do now force it to Snodgrass, who again pops up on the left. There's Cresswell inside again. Wilshire keeps possession, but again he's still got his back to goal, and in the end he tries to force a pass to Snodgrass, overhits it and it's out of play. It's good defending from Newport, it's got to be said.
It is good defending from Newport there, but little flashes from Jack Wilshere, they're having their little moments where he's just picked the ball up, just rolled off one defender, sent a couple of good balls through, and he just needs a bit more of the ball. I think Pellegrini was probably hoping that West Ham would have more attacking possession in this first half to really give Wilshere a run at this Newport defence, but it hasn't really happened so far.
No, it certainly hasn't. Credit the home side for that, as well as criticising the away side a little perhaps, as Haynes clears the ball. They have been profligate in giving the ball away, West Ham, in this first half, it has to be said. Haven't been very efficient, as a long ball forward of a Diop. Well, clearance more than pass. He's left, and Ayete, we've not had a chance to mention him really so far, because he just hasn't seen the ball.
Well, the longest we spent talking about him was a free kick he gave away at the edge of his own box. We've hardly mentioned him in attack at all, because he's hardly received any service.
Yeah, I think it would be the same even if we had Sebastian Haller away, who scored twice at the weekend, because he wouldn't have seen the ball himself.
It's certainly no criticism of Albion Ayeti whatsoever. It's just the fact that West Ham have been playing a lot of balls down the channels. They've not really been able to finish the moves off in the box, and consequently their number 9 for this evening hasn't seen any of the ball.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't. There's pressure here on Balbuena for a moment, who has to scamper forward quickly to take possession before Newport got it back inside the West Ham half, but it's cleared away up towards Snodgrass again, wide on that right hand side. He'll find Wilshire in that central position again. Newport's players all pointing at each other, all knowing who should be where, covering each channel. Snodgrass steps inside this time. He does get it into the penalty area. He tries to backheel the ball into the path of a colleague, but it didn't get there in the end. But West Ham will get it back and come back through the centre. A long ball looking towards Cresswell again. It finds him, but again he's beaten to it this time. On this occasion, it's cleared away along down the right-hand side by Robbie Wilmot. Can't find Abrahams through the centre. And West Ham turn it round the other way, and forward they come again with Fornals. He's got Cresswell on the overlap, but he underhits the pass, and then the clearance from McNamara hits Cresswell, and Cresswell is furious with his West Ham colleague that the ball didn't come at pace so that he could attack it again and get in the area.
He is, yeah. I mean, it just breaks the move down a little bit. Just when it looked as though Newport were having to track back a little bit and they're having to just chase the ball down, all of a sudden there's a moment there where the West Ham move just breaks down, and ultimately Newport have an easy way of clearing their lines, or they don't get the ball very far, and West Ham are back in possession.
Yeah, they certainly are. Wilshire will come forward again through the centre. He tries to force into the path of Yeti. He's got it back again. Mistake by the defender, and there's the opening goal for West Ham. It comes from the first error we've seen, really, from Newport County. Jack Wilshire takes full advantage and puts the Hammers in front by a goal to nil.
So we do have a goal just before half-time, and it's come after a real error in defence there from Kyle Howkins. He just loses the ball at the edge of the box just when it looked as though Newport were clearing their lines after a moment of West Ham attack. It's actually Jack Wilshire that starts the move in midfield, plays the ball to the edge of the area, and then he just gets completely tangled with the ball, does Kyle Howkins, and Wilshire just following it up, picks the ball up at the edge of the area and is able to wrong foot the keeper and send it into the back of the net. So West Ham, who've been putting pressure on Newport, but they haven't been playing anywhere near as well as Manuel Pellegrini would have liked, but they capitalise on a mistake, and it's Newport County 0, West Ham United 1.
And for the first time tonight, we've seen some efficiency from this West Ham side. One chance, one goal, and that's your job done perhaps for this first 45 minutes, and that's a real frustration for Newport County as Jack Wilshire gets his first goal for the Hammers. It seems so long he's been there, and you kind of forget the scenario that he's found himself in, but that is his first goal in a West Ham shirt. And unfortunately, as far as Newport are concerned, who have acquitted themselves well in this first 45 minutes, as one of their players is left in a crumpled heap. I think it's Abrahams on that far side. He's still down as West Ham come forward through the centre. The referee is happy for play to continue as the ball worked out towards Cresswell. Takes it down just inside the Newport half, then rolls it into the path of Wilshire. He's looking round him at the options that are available to him because he knows he doesn't need to push it now. 1 minute to go to the break. West Ham on the attack though with Snodgrass. Zabaleta goes on the overlap. Snodgrass is allowed space and tries to get a shot in, but in the end he puts it way over the crossbar and should have done a lot better there, Robert Snodgrass. It was a good opportunity that he found himself in, but it was neither one thing nor the other in the end. So it will be a goal kick, and that could be more or less the end of the first half. Newport not exactly rushing to take it either at this stage. The Hammers players wandering back towards the halfway line as Townsend, who's, as we said, not really had too much to do. Seen one come back off the post, one comfortable save from Snodgrass, and then the goal so far. He will clear it right-footed, long downfield. Zabaleta rises highest but goes way under the ball as it drifts over his head. Abraham's looking like he's going for the throw-in on that left-hand side in an awkward position. He gets it. Buena puts the challenge in, and that will give Haynes the chance, of course, to come forward to thunder another one into the penalty area.
2 minutes, 3 minutes injury time, something like
well,
that.
A little bit for Antonio, wasn't there, in the goal, but yeah, should be
2 minutes minimum, I would suggest.
Yeah, as Haynes takes 1 minute. What do we know? I don't think Antonio went off that quickly.
No, and we've had a goal, we've had other stoppages as well. So I think the fourth was being a little bit tight there, but here comes the long throw now from Haynes.
Yeah, last chance then for Newport County. It's into the box. It's pinball inside the area as West Ham players don't really deal with it, and it's lashed straight out of play again, and Haynes will wander back a couple of yards ready to take the throw in again. He's going to have to be a little quicker this time though. He tried the long throw, long ball in, it comes, it's played short instead and then hoofed into the area, but Roberto does well. We've got two players down injured in different places, but it's West Ham who are away through the centre on this occasion with Fornals. Good save though from Townsend. He maybe should have done better than Fornals. Bashes into the defender. The referee gives the free kick, but a great opportunity. Should have been 2-0. Credit the keeper, but you've got to score in that situation.
You do. I think there might have been a blow to the face there for Felipe Anderson. How hard it was and whether or not it was enough to bring him down in the way he he went down is a different matter, but from the result in counter-attack, it's Fornals gets to the edge of the area. Good save there from the goalkeeper, but really, as you said, Fornals shouldn't have given him the chance to even make that save.
Yeah, it was too high in the end, gave the keeper a good chance to make the save, but there's still plenty of work for the big Nick Townsend to do as he clears the ball downfield. That is the last of the action of the first half, so Jack Wilshere's goal just before the break makes it...
Right, so it's half time. It is 1-0 to West Ham. If you are going to leave the stream now because it's half time, make sure to come back in about 15 minutes for the second half. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more West Ham and Newport related streams, hit the subscribe button. And what we're going to do now, we're going to look at the match stats, we're going to look at the player ratings, we're going to look at all the other halftime scores in every other EFL Cup game. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that, but we'll see. So we'll start off with the stats if they work. I'm not sure if they do though. Let me just have a look. It does work, I think. Right. So here we go, the match stats. 72% possession for West Ham, 28% for Newport. 5 shots for both sides. 3 of West Ham shots being on target, 2 of Newport's being on target. And 2 corners for Newport, 0 for West Ham. So it's a pretty even game. West Ham had pretty much all the possession, but quite a lot of shots for Newport. Goal was scored by Jack Wilshere in the 43rd minute. Warhorse fan says, are you a West Ham fan? No, I'm just a neutral for this game. I'm not a West Ham fan, I'm not a Newport fan, I'm just streaming this because I do live commentaries for loads of English games, and this is one of the 3 games at the moment that's happening in the EFL Cup that has commentary, so I thought I'd do this one because I haven't done a West Ham stream yet, mainly. There's no other yellow cards. Antonio did come off in the first half because of a hamstring injury, I'm pretty sure. So Felipe Anderson has had to replace him. We'll look at the player ratings now. I'll keep it on that screen. Actually, no, I'll keep it on this screen. Whilst I get the player ratings, put the chat there as well. We are also 2 subs away from 1,550, so if you could help me hit that by the end of the half-time break, that'd be great. So, lineups. Start off with Newport because they're the home team, so we'll read out all the player ratings. So, Nick Townsend has a 6.4 rating. McNamara has a 6.3 rating. Hawkins has a 5.9. O'Brien has a 6.5. Haynes has a 6.7. Sheehan has a 6.7. Dolan has a 7. Wilmot has a 6.7. Whiteley has a 6.5. Abrahams has a 6.6. And Amond has a 6.3. So Dolan the best player for Newport. Haynes, Sheehan, Wilmot and Abraham's doing quite decent as well. But moving on to the ratings for West Ham. Roberto has a 6.9. Zabaleta has a 6.7. Balbuena has a 7.1. Diop has a 6.6. Cresswell has a 6.8. Carlos Sanchez has a 6.8. Fornals has a 6.4. Wilshere has a 7.7. Snodgrass has a 6.8. Ajeti has a 6.6. Antonio, who came off in the 8th minute, has a 6.5. And Felipe Anderson, who came on for him, has a 6.7. So Jack Wilshere at the moment getting man of the match. He scored the goal for West Ham. My prediction, I forgot to say it, but my prediction's 2-1 West Ham, which I said before. Well, I was going to say before, but I forgot to say, but that is my prediction for the game. I think Newcastle, no, not, I said Newcastle twice and said Newport, but I think Newport could get an equaliser, and then West Ham will get a late goal with like Felipe Anderson or something. We'll have to wait and see though, but we managed to hit 1,550 subs, so thanks for that. Our next target for full time will be 1,560. So we need to gain 10 subscribers from now until the full time. Which probably won't happen, but we'll make that our goal. We gained like 7 subs since I started the stream, which is pretty decent, but I'm going to look at all the other EFL scores at the moment. Should be half time in all of them, because I'm pretty sure none started at 8:45. No, not 8:45, just 8 o'clock. But anyway, start off. Burton are beating Morecambe 2-0. Aston Villa winning at Crewe 3-0. Grimsby drawing 0-0 to Macclesfield. Leeds losing 2-0 to Stoke. Nottingham Forest winning 2-0 against Derby. Preston winning 2-1 against Hull. Rochdale winning 2-0 against Carlisle. Sheffield United winning 2-0 against Blackburn. Bristol Rovers are drawing 0-0 to Brighton. Cardiff losing 1-0 to Luton. Crawley beating Norwich 1-0. Crystal Palace drawing 0-0 to Colchester. Fulham drawing 0-0 to Southampton. Obviously West Ham winning 1-0 against Newport. Millwall winning 1-0 against Oxford. Plymouth drawing 1-0 against Reading. Southend losing 2-0 to Milton Keynes Dons. I just called them MK Dons, but I nearly said Well, MK Dons winning 2-0 against Southend, and then Watford winning 1-0 against Coventry. So there's a few shock results. We'll go through all the results. So we'll start off with Burton Morecambe. Boyce with a brace with 1 goal in the 34th minute, 1 goal in the 42nd. Burton all over Morecambe. Morecambe having 2 shots. County should be winning. Yeah, they've done alright. It's just all the possession's gone to West Ham. But they have done alright. I think they'll equalise like quite early on in the second half, but I think West Ham will just win. But Aston Villa winning 3-0. Consul with a goal, and then Hurry Hayne with a brace as well. 24th minute goal for him and 43rd minute goal. Crewe doing alright. They've had 6 shots. Decent possession. 35% against Premier League sides. 3 shots on target. 4 corners as well. So they're doing alright. They're just 3-0 down. So they're probably getting knocked out, but they're doing alright. Aston Villa pretty decent Prem side. Probably stay up this season. Grimsby, Macclesfield, pretty average. No, pretty even game, not average. No shots on target that game. Leeds v Stoke. Stoke winning 2-0. Bath and Sam Vokes with goals. Stoke the better side. Quite a few shots for Leeds though. But moving on to this game, Nottingham Forest vs Derby. Adama and Lolly with the goals. Pretty even game. And then Preston v Hull. Preston winning 2-0. Huntington and Harrop with made it 2-0 to Preston, and McGuinness with a 34th minute penalty. Preston better side with more shots. Who do you think will win the Premier League? I predicted Man City at the start of the season, mainly because Liverpool didn't actually sign anyone like amazing, and Man City signed Cancelo and Rodri. But we'll have to wait and see. Liverpool having the better start, but at this point last season, Man City had 7 points after 3 games and they managed to win the league, so I've predicted them to do it again. I'm not sure if they will though. But anyway, moving on. Rochdale winning 2-0 against Carlisle, not at Carlisle. Rochdale have done alright. I'm pretty sure they're high up in League 1. When I have a look at how Rochdale doing, I've seen them have... Every time I look at Rochdale's results, they're always winning by like 2 or 3 goals. But anyway, moving on. Sheffield United winning 2-0 at Blackburn, against Blackburn. Keep saying at Blackburn. But Stearman and Norwood with goals. Only 2 shots, so every shot for Sheffield United's gone in. Bristol Rovers v Brighton 0-0. Brighton all over them, just can't score. Luton winning 1-0 against Cardiff. Junior Hoylett with an own goal. Probably from a corner or something, I'm guessing, because I don't see how a winger would score an own goal. But Crawley beating Norwich. This is a shock result. Premier League team losing to a League 2 team. See the stats. Want to see their lineup. They're playing Farman in goal, who's played in the Champions League for Schalke, and they're losing 1-0 to Crawley Town. Like, I predicted Farman, if he played, he'd be the next Fulham keeper, Rico, from last year. That's what I said. But anyway, Sammy Martin says, which football team do you spot Man City? Anyway, moving on to Crystal Palace Colchester, which is 0-0. Colchester doing alright, they've had more shots. Pretty even game there. Fulham Southampton 0-0. Another pretty even game. Southampton aren't resting players, they're playing a decent side. I've already looked at West Ham game, but Millwall winning 1-0 against Oxford. Pretty even as well. And then Plymouth 1-0 against Reading. Wouldn't be surprised if Plymouth win that. And then MK Dons winning 2-0 against Southend. Then Watford 1-0 against Coventry. And they are resting loads of players as well. Danny Welbeck playing his first game. So we'll focus on the game we're doing commentary on now. Since we've gone through all the other results. So we'll put it on there. Jack Wilshere with the only goal of the game. Second half should start in about 5 minutes. Should be less than 5 minutes. We'll have to wait and see though. The two people that did two people that did dislike the stream earlier have undisliked it. Is that a word? I'm not sure, but they have removed their dislike, which is good. Don't know why people disliked it in the first place, because it was literally the game hadn't started, so it's obviously not going to be commentary. But that's fine. Now we've got 9 likes. I'm not really bothered about likes too much, to be honest. I just don't like it when people dislike it for no reason. Because I don't... Well, I've made a few clickbait videos on like April Fools and stuff. I made one like January 2018. But my live streams like this are not clickbait, but let me just look at. Well, we're gonna look at see if there's anything's happening happening with the Barry and Bolton situation. Doesn't look like it though. Hasn't been updated since the last chat. It would be weird seeing Bolton not in the Football League. Bury have been in like not been in Premier League, but Bolton were playing like European football like just over a decade ago, and now they're literally about to get removed from the Football League. Is this? No, it's just all about. Jack Wilshere has scored his first goal in the League Cup since he scored in his first appearance in the competition in September 2008 for Arsenal against Sheffield United. I didn't even know he was playing for Arsenal when he was 16. Look at tomorrow's fixtures as well whilst we're at it, because we've still got like a couple of minutes left until the second half. But tomorrow we're going to be doing commentary for Lincoln City versus Everton, so if you want to see that, just subscribe to the channel, then you'll easily be able to find my live stream. Tomorrow there's also Burnley v Sunderland, Newcastle v Leicester, which should be a good game. Rotherham v Sheffield Wednesday, Bournemouth v Forest Green, QPR v Portsmouth, and Swansea v Cambridge. So there's quite a few games. Not as much as today, but 7, I think. Yeah. On Thursday, we're not going to do a commentary. We're going to be doing a Champions League draw stream. So Thursday afternoon, I'll be like streaming like Champions League draw, so I have like some thing on here that says like Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D and stuff. Then on this side we'll have like the pot 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we'll update it like as soon as the draw's done. Should be good. I've done it for like, I did it last season, it got like quite a lot of views, but I think it got taken down by UEFA or something. Let me have a look. We'll do that. Second half might start, so I'll put on this. Second half's actually started 3 minutes ago, so I'm going to put on commentary whilst I do that. But anyway, shout out to Chris Lucas and Warhorse Fan for subscribing. Well, I'm going to put on commentary now, so enjoy the second half. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be doing loads more commentaries in the future.
Gets it from Snodgrass. Snodgrass under pressure there from Haynes, but he still keeps the ball, gets it onto his left foot, finds Ayeti, who breaks into the box. Then he plays an overlap ball for Zabaleta. It was a nice idea, just left Zabaleta a little bit too much to do, and it eventually goes out for a goal kick.
As you say, some nice work from Ayeti overall there. He held up the ball nicely in the corner, laid it into Snodgrass, got himself into another good position then to be ready for the ball across, and it didn't quite come in the end, as you say, but on that occasion some nice interplay from West Ham, and something we didn't see a lot of in the first half. A couple of times with Cresswell and Felipe Anderson down the opposite side of the field, but not really down Snodgrass's side. So interesting to see how West Ham just tweak things in this second half.
Well, West Ham need to try and do a little bit more, I think, just to put that pressure on Newport, get that second, get that third goal as soon as possible. There's a bit of a clash there on the far side with Sheehan and Diop crashing into each other, but it's just gone out for a West Ham goal kick.
Yes, just a good ball over the top of Diop again. He's too experienced in the Premier League ways, too much power to be able to be pushed off for that. As we said, just see the stats, played every minute for West Ham this season so far, and you see why, Pellegrini wants him to play tonight, that they keep this, as we said, keep this momentum going for this back four, get the knowledge up, get the experience up between them, so they're working as closely together as they can be, because first day of the season West Ham poor defensively and put to the sword by Manchester City. Since then, things have settled down a little better for them.
Yes, they have. I mean, they had a goal. There was a Brighton goal disallowed by VAR in the second game when they drew 1-1, and then they crushed hapless Watford, who really do look hapless at the moment, by 3-1 in the last round of games. West Ham's next game is at home to Norwich on Saturday, and they follow that up with a game away to Aston Villa, but that's after the international break, because after this weekend, of course, we do go to an international break. Well, I mentioned Watford. They are 1-0 up at home to Coventry so far this evening. Sheffield United are 2-0 up at home to Blackburn, just whizzing through the Premier League side. West Ham, as we mentioned, of course, our game here are 1-0 up at Newport, and Crystal Palace still 0-0 with Colchester, so potential banana skin for Palace there. Villa, I don't think are going to get surprised this evening. They're 3-0 up away to Crewe. Crawley still 1-0 up at home to Norwich, and Brighton 0-0 away to Bristol Rovers so far. That game is also well into the second half. But here, 50 minutes got at Rodney Parade. And it is the home side now, just trying to push forward here. Haynes under a bit of pressure goes back in towards Sheehan, and then it's with captain Mark O'Brien, who goes via Hawkins back towards his own goalkeeper Nick Townsend. Long clearance there from the goalkeeper back into the West Ham half. Amond looking to get the header on, but Balbuena is there, and the ball is now back over on the back over at the edge of the area. Good opportunity now as Amond leaves it. A strike coming in. The strike, I think, was going wide from Corey Whiteley, and the ball is now built up towards the halfway line. Ayeti's blocked though, and Newport are back in possession. I did see on one of our graphics there that the Grimsby-Macclesfield game has been interrupted. I couldn't work out why, but I think you've got the answer, Steve.
Yeah, the answer is pretty clear on Twitter, on the Grimsby Town feed. It is absolutely bouncing it down on the East Coast, and therefore pitch inspection, you wouldn't believe it at this time of year, would you, that that's the case? But looks like we could lose one game this evening.
That really would be a collector's item for a game cancelled because of the rain in August, but that's looking like what it could be, and there's no exaggeration. It's not like it's a heavy storm, it's more rain than it is anything else when you see the picture that we've just seen. So a really strong storm there on the East Coast. We'll see if that game can get started. Grimsby-Macclesfield, it is goalless there, and I think that game probably hasn't restarted yet for the second half. May not be able to restart, or may have to reschedule that one. But back here at Rodney Parade, no danger of any rain at all. It's a lovely evening here in South Wales, and the home side just struggling to pick up the ball now in midfield, as West Ham feeling a bit more comfortable, of course, with that one goal lead as well. Ball volleyed away now by Balbuena into the Newport half. It's picked up on the halfway line by Joshua Sheehan, but there was actually an offside against Ayeti before all of that anyway, so it will be a free kick to Newport County. Taken quickly by Sheehan, and now it's the unfortunate Hawkins. I say unfortunate, of course, because he was the one that made the error for the West Ham goal. Now it's with McNamara, chips it up towards Sheehan. It doesn't quite reach him though, and now it's a chance for West Ham to go forward. Early ball played up towards Snodgrass. He tried to play it in towards Ayeti, but it's headed away at the edge of the area. Now potentially a chance for Newport to go on the counter, but that's really good work. Sanchez wins the ball back for West Ham, and he gets to the edge of the area, feeds Zabaleta on the right hand side. Zabaleta back to Snodgrass, outside of the boot pass. Goalkeeper comes out, doesn't make the save. And coming into the penalty area there was Ayeti. I'm not so sure if he gets the final touch or not. He certainly jumped for it. There was a defender jumping for it as well. Nice little outside of the boot pass there from Snodgrass as well.
It was a strange little dinked ball.
It was Ayeti.
It was Ayeti, you're right, who did get his head to it in the first instance. Got a little bit too much on it. I think he's trying to get it up and over the keeper who was coming out in front of him, but got too much head onto it on that occasion. It flies well over the crossbar, but again, this is much better from West Ham in the second half. You kind of get the feeling that they wanted to try and put this tie to bed. Well, it's not easy. Here come Newport again.
Well, that's a good run from Sheehan. He goes down at the edge of the area. No free kicks as the referee, but the ball is kept alive and it's played across. It must be 1-1. Oh, he's just missed it. It's Robbie Wilmot who puts the ball in from the right-hand side, and it's no exaggeration. I mean, he can't be more than a yard out there, Tristan Abrahams, but he can't get the touch on it when it really looked as though Newport were going to get their equaliser. It's really good work to pick that up and break into the area on that right-hand side. And it's a good ball from Wilmot. just needed to be a little bit taller there, Tristan Abrahams, and it's definitely going to be 1-1.
Yeah, fabulous run down the right hand side, great ball across, puts it into exactly the right place. And Abrahams, as you say, at full pelt coming in at the far post, had to just check for a second to stay onside, and that was all. Maybe that was the second that just lost it for him through no fault of his own, but he races in, and he's, as you say, longer studs, that one's off him and into the bottom corner.
Yeah, Gaza against Germany in Euro 96, if you want a good comparison there, if you want to visualise what happened to Abraham there, but it was very similar to that. Couldn't quite reach that ball at the far post, but that might be a bit of an injection of confidence for Newport County now, and they're in possession on the left-hand side with Abrahams. He just plays it back in towards the halfway line there for Whiteley, and now it's with O'Brien and Hawkins still deep inside their own halves. Hawkins goes over towards the right-hand side for McNamara, and he plays it back towards goalkeeper Townsend. Long clearance from him down the right-hand side. Too long, in fact. It sails out for a throw. It's not a rugby touch finder there, keeper. You've got to try and keep it in play. And it is a throw to West Ham now on the left-hand side with Cresswell. It's inside there to Wilshire. And now back in. We're looking at the West Ham bench again in terms of who we might want to bring on just to get a bit more control. He's got Haller, he's got Rice as well potentially, he's got Ogbonna and Fabianski. That's the players that I'm a bit more aware of. I don't know too much about Connor Coventry or indeed Ben Johnson. No,
there are a couple of younger players we might want to throw in if the game's kind of dead by 70 or 80 minutes, but it doesn't look like it will be at the moment. Here come West Ham though down the left, ball in, put behind on this occasion by Hawkins for a corner. Good defending at the near post, but yeah, you would think at the moment there's no need to change anything, unless somebody's struggling a little bit injury wise. You don't want to push them too far in this kind of scenario. If it gets to 2 or 3-0, then the substitutions will come. I think if it stays at 1, I think bearing in mind he's already had to use one, Pellegrini, it's unlikely that he'll make an early change here.
That's very true. Hawkins there, ironically, he put the ball out of play, but it was actually his fault that attack came to fruition at all, because he was 3 yards behind the rest of his teammates. He was appealing for an offside which wasn't there because of him. If he'd have stayed in line with his teammates, then that West Ham attack would have been stopped in its tracks. But it is a corner kick now to the Hammers from the left-hand side, and it's going to be a right-footed in swinger towards the 6-yard box. Hooked away though by Matt Dolan. Headed up in the air by Jack Wilshere, but it actually goes behind him, and now potentially a chance here for Abrahams to go on the counter, and a free kick has been given in favour of West Ham, and Abrahams is wagging his finger. No way, ref, is the lip reading. Thankfully, we don't have to do too much censoring there, but well, I suppose the referee's being consistent. I mean, Wilshere's used that beautifully, because at no point was Abrahams actually pushing him. At the very least, he had his elbow on him, wasn't even leaning on him, but the referee felt that was enough.
Yeah, it's not a foul, is it? The referee's on the backside of Wilshere there to be able to see what the foul is. The little push on the shoulder, as you say, is nothing really from Abrahams. Wilshere makes the most of it because he knows that he is struggling against the big striker.
He is. In fairness, though, the referee gave a couple of questionable ones in the first half that went the other way as well, so at least he's being consistent. That the smallest amount of contact seems to be given free kicks, but West Ham have moved forward, and now it is Jack Wilshere into the box. The angle's too tight. It's a shot come cross really, that it flies right through the penalty area. Kept in play on the left hand side now by Cresswell. He goes back in towards Felipe Anderson. Square now to Carlos Sanchez, and Sanchez plays the ball over towards the right hand side. Zabaleta hits it in first time. It's a good ball in from the veteran Argentine, but it's also hooked away by Mark O'Brien out for another West Ham corner.
Yeah, Zabaleta does really well on that occasion. They're making him work hard for the ball at the moment. Zabaleta seems to be every overhit pass is coming his way, but on that occasion he still had time to get to it and does really well to pull it back into a dangerous position, comfortably dealt with by Newport. But again, another corner kick to come.
Yeah, corner kick to come in from the right hand side. It's a left-footed in swinger from Robert Snodgrass, aims at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Ayeti with the header. No, it's Ayeti with the header, but it gets a deflection along the way, so it will be another corner.
Yeah, we couldn't really see who it came off last. Both players battling for it just outside the 6-yard box on that occasion. Referee with a good view decides it came off the Newport man last. So corner kick from the same side, from that West Ham right. Everybody from a West Ham point of view outside the 6-yard box there. They're going to power in towards goal rather than crowding the keeper.
Well, here comes that ball in from Snodgrass. Gets a lot of whip on it as well. It's towards Ayeti again. Pretty much carbon copy of how the ball landed last time. Couldn't really attack it as much this time. Gets no deflection, so it's just out for a goal kick.
No, he was a bit underneath it on that occasion, wasn't he, Ayeti, unfortunately, so there wasn't the space to be able to get the header in on that occasion. But again, at least he won it. At least he found a bit of space at the far post again.
So it's been a bright start to the second half as far as the West Ham United are concerned. They've seen a lot of the ball, already leading 1-0 after that Jack Wilshere goal in the first half, and Newport just struggling to get any kind of real possession. But despite that, Newport have had a great chance to score after West Ham were caught in possession at the edge of their own penalty area. A quick ball was played out towards the right-hand side, and there was Robbie Wilmot just to fire a ball across the 6-yard box, and Tristan Abrahams is so close to getting his foot to that. He was only a yard out, so if he makes any kind of contact at all, it would have been 1-1, but he couldn't quite reach it. At the other end, there have been a couple of chances for Ayeti, but he couldn't quite get his head towards goal. Newport are still very much in this game, but West Ham are still seeing quite a lot of the ball. It's still 1-0 to West Ham.
Yes, we're up towards the hour mark as well, as Sanchez battles back with Abrahams. Abrahams unlucky on that occasion. The ball spins away off his ankles and out of play for a West Ham throw-in inside their own half of the field, deep inside their own half, level with the edge of their own penalty area on their right, as Zabaleta takes it, and Fornals smashes it straight out of play on the volley. Fantastic first touch there.
It's almost a Peter Kay habit there, wouldn't it? It's just hoofing that anyway, you know. Just
you could see what he was trying to do, but the thought process was there. Unfortunately, the gap between brain and feet was a little too far away on that occasion for Fornals. But either way, it's Newport who have the throw-in. They've taken it short, whipped into the penalty area by Dolan, headed away by Balbuena, battling around a couple of players on the halfway line before Newport take it back, and then Zabaleta takes control and at least heads the ball out of play to stop it from heading back towards the West Ham penalty area. It will be a throw-in, which again we'll see Ryan Haynes come forward to take, although this one a much shorter one that he just manages to keep in play, as the pass back to him again was rather overhit.
Yes, it certainly was. That ball was quickly played out in the end, and now it's a chance for West Ham to go forward. As Steve mentioned, that we've had the hour mark now. It's still interrupted between Grimsby and Macclesfield, so that game is not restarted as yet. And as I say, we'll give you any update as we have it in terms of whether that game is going to go ahead this evening or not. West Ham now looking to get on the attack. Ball over the top there for Ayeti, trying to control it over the top of his head, but it's just a little bit too far for him.
Yeah, confirmation that the Grimsby Town game has gone. Second pitch inspection, game is called off, so abandoned at half time. They did reach the break, then the rains came, and that's been the end of it.
Will that mean that the whole match has to be replayed then, or
yes,
the whole match just have to go?
I think they start again on that basis, don't they? But yes, it's,
I suppose with it being 0-0, neither team can say that they've lost out. Yeah, so I think on that basis, whether they were to play a half of football or I suppose it'd be a bit silly to just play one half and then go straight to penalties. So they'll have to replay that at some stage.
I just hope the hardy souls from Macclesfield who made their way across get a free ticket on the way back for the second game.
I do hope so, because
I sincerely hope so.
There wouldn't have been many of them on a Tuesday night, and as I say, it's a fair old journey to make all the way from Cheshire right to the East Coast, especially with that wonderful M62 where you never know how busy it's going to be. But back to Rodney Parade here in South Wales. It is West Ham in confident possession now inside the Newport half, but not able really to get towards the penalty area as the ball now goes on the overlap. A great opportunity here now for Cresswell. Cresswell still keeping it. He's holding it on for too long, perhaps. He's going to win his side a corner, but really he had all the time in the world to play it to Ayeti. Now he's trying to argue his case as if to say I couldn't do anything about that, but he held on to the ball for too long, I thought.
Well, a couple of extra touches. He's kind of goal for goal. There he's got the chance. He tries to pull it back. The keeper's on him. He's got two defenders in front of him on his right hand side, therefore he hasn't really got a pullback, so just smash the ball towards the keeper. Even if it doesn't go in, it should deflect out to give somebody an opportunity, and I think Cresswell just takes the wrong option there.
Yeah, it was the wrong option, but Felipe Anderson now over on the right hand side. It's an in-swinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed down by Ayeti, couldn't get it towards goal. The loose ball is flicked away, picked up in now by Pablo Fornals, and he goes across towards Cresswell, back over towards the left hand side. Felipe Anderson stayed up there, he puts in Snodgrass on the overlap. His cross is charged down straight away by a strong challenge there from McNamara. It's out for another corner to West Ham.
Again, good if a little desperate defending as far as Newport are concerned. I think it was Wilmot actually who just got his foot to it in the end, but it's behind for a corner. We're going to see a double substitution for Newport County.
Yes, we are, yeah.
Looking down on this one, Ryan Innes is going to come on. Dolan will go off in midfield. I'm just waiting for confirmation. The other one is Whiteley, who's kind of disappeared in this second half. And just looking at Mr. who's coming on there. Is it Seth Bennett? It is.
It's Bennett.
Scott Bennett.
It's Bennett and Maloney, as you said. Sorry, it's Bennett and Innes, as you said, who are the two players to come on for Newport County.
Yeah, Scott Bennett will come on, so fairly much as you were. Dolan, I think, I don't know, I wouldn't say he's disappeared in the second half, but they are starting to get a little bit overrun in midfield, and I think Michael Flynn just wanting to try and make those changes that will just try and solidify, give themselves a bit of pace as well, just moving forward.
Absolutely, yes. As this corner kick comes in, I think it was Diop who got the final touch, heads it over the bar. So just to confirm that it is Maloney who's come on for Whiteley, and Bennett who's come on for Dolan. And those are the two changes there for Michael Flynn, and we'll see how that impacts on the game now.
Yeah, we'll see which way they come forward now. In that sense, we haven't seen a shot yet to see whether they've shuffled things around a little with those two changes yet in midfield. But as I say, Michael Flynn deciding with 25 minutes left to go on. I'm sure with one eye on the league as well, that he wants his players to have a little bit of a breather, maybe one or two of them who've put a decent shift in, particularly Dolan, I think, in midfield. I say Whiteley we've kind of lost track of a little bit as this game's gone on. But
well, he's an attacking winger and they've not had too much attacking, so he's not really been in the game too much. That said, we've seen a little bit more of Sheehan, but then Sheehan's been playing more in the middle really, rather than as far wide as perhaps we would have expected. It's West Ham pushing forward towards that Newport County penalty area again. Over now towards Wilshere. Wilshere under pressure, but he's still able to get that ball across towards Felipe Anderson. Ayeti there, was he brought down? He might have been, but it's irrelevant because stood just behind him is Pablo Fornals, and he's not even 3 yards out. All he's going to do is just play that ball across the line, which is exactly what he does. And West Ham now solidifying their position in this tie with 25 minutes to go. They are now 2-0 up.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest finish, one of the greatest goals. A bit like the first one, isn't it? A little bit of a mess, really, in the end. It should have been cleared by Newport. They were a little bit slow. The man who's come on, Bennett, didn't really react properly outside the penalty area. And then when it comes over, everybody falls over each other, and it gives Fornal the opportunity just to tap home.
Well, West Ham have been in a lot of possession in the last 10 minutes or so, really putting pressure here on Newport, and now it's told because they have got themselves a second goal. It was Newport caught in possession inside their own half. Wilshere feeding a quick ball out towards the left-hand side for Felipe Anderson. He plays it to the edge of the 6-yard box for striker Albion Ayeti, who may well have been brought down as he went for the ball, but stood just behind him is Pablo Fornals, and from 3 yards out, Fornals really couldn't miss, and he didn't miss. He got the ball into the back of the net for his first goal for West Ham. West Ham now looking good in the tie. They are 2-0 up on the night.
Yes, they are, and it does look pretty comfortable now for West Ham. Snodgrass with a lovely take and turn just on the halfway line to start off another attack for the Hammers, and then Felipe Anderson spreads it out wide for Cresswell, but he looks at what's in front of him, decides there's too many amber shirts between him and the penalty area, and just checks back for a second. Sanchez will have it, although he's got to be careful. He's under pressure from Abrahams, but he gets away with one there, and then Sanchez, as all good holding midfielders should, looks around as if to say, well, nobody was moving in front of me, so what do you expect me to do on that occasion? But for me, he's got to be a little bit sharper and more aware of what's around him. Great ball here towards Felipe Anderson inside the penalty area, lifted in towards Fornals again, but he can't, Wilshere again I should say, behind Fornals as the two of them came into the penalty area. But on that occasion, a pretty comfortable save for Townsend.
It is a comfortable save for Townsend. It's easily cleared up towards the halfway line now, but it's straight into West Ham possession, and Newport's heads are bound to have dropped a little bit after that second goal. At 1-0, any team 1-0 down can always fancy the chances of getting back into it, but at 2-0 now with less than 25 minutes to go, it's a tall order here for Newport. And mind you, of course, this is a club that's built on tall orders, really, isn't it? If you look at the history of this club, I had the opportunity to see that Giant Killers documentary earlier today, and it really is an amazing story that Newport have got a league club now playing at Rodney Parade and actually getting very close to promotion into League One last season, which we were, of course, commentating that second leg against Mansfield.
Yeah, they just sort of ran out of steam a little bit in that playoffs, didn't they, at the end of the season, in what was a disappointing end, really, to what had been, as you say, a very good season for them. And you know, on a day when we're looking at clubs might fold and situations financially with a couple of the EFL sides, to be here watching a side like Newport who regenerated themselves from that kind of situation and have got themselves into, you know, back into league football and into some giant killing exploits as well, and decent turnouts these days. The header comes in out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Here we are writing Newport off and just talking about how they've tried hard this evening, but it might not be enough, and all of a sudden they're very close to getting back into the game, and it's a really good header there from Hawkins. Gets underneath it. You always felt as though the keeper Roberto was favourite to save that. He just gets underneath his crossbar and tips it over, but he's very quick to tell his defender that they should have been a little bit better in marking there. Here comes the outswinging corner, headed back in by Howard. There's another opportunity, perhaps inside the box. It was Howkins' header initially, but then the second effort was quickly charged down, and now West Ham can go on the counter-attack. The ball is on the halfway line, headed forward by Snodgrass. Loose ball is quickly hooked away and back into West Ham possession, though Newport didn't really enjoy any opportunity to go on the attack themselves, and now West Ham with a chance down the right hand side. Zabaleta to Snodgrass. Snodgrass then puts the ball into the box looking for Aeti. It's headed away towards the edge of the area. Wilshere was going to leave it for Sanchez, I think, but he just picks it up now and plays it square to Carlos Sanchez, and West Ham are quite happy to just keep the ball in midfield, not really looking to force the issue at this stage. But we've gone past the 3-quarter mark of the game. 69 minutes gone. It is Newport County 0, West Ham United 2, and it will be Steve to take you through to full time.
Yeah, it's been an entertaining encounter so far, going past quickly as the time ticks away in the second half. But that's not a good sign for Newport County, of course. Better for West Ham. 20 minutes to go, leading by 2-0. Four Niles at the moment on the floor, having been left in a crumpled heap as the challenge came in. It was one where he just got trod on by the Newport player who came across, Robbie Wilmot, so it will be a free kick to the Hammers. Central position, long way out from goal though, will need to be chipped in towards the area, so that's the cue for Balbuena and Diop to make their way towards the edge of the Newport penalty area, where they will both position themselves to the right of centre. There's obviously something that West Ham have been working on here. Snodgrass is over it to be able to flick one in. He'll take the ball back and lift it into the box. Diop is held away from it. Newport's header away is poor, but they get away with it, and it's cleared and hacked out by Bennett for a throw in just inside the Newport half, which Zabaleta, once he extracts himself from the advertising hoardings to get the ball, will just throw back to Roberto. And West Ham just trying to kill off the game now. Roberto will just keep plenty of time on this possession until he's finally closed down by Abrahams. And then right-footed, he'll lift it downfield. It's flicked on by Felipe Anderson, but there's nobody making the run down that left-hand side for West Ham, so it's cleared away. But a little bit of tennis around the halfway line for the moment before the ball's finally brought back under control. Turn away on this occasion from Maloney, then it's worked out on the left-hand side for Haynes. Haynes in space down towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Does well, gets a cross in, just overhits it a little, unfortunately, and it will eventually, will it bounce out of play? Yes, it does, before Patrick Amond can get to it. But again, Haynes getting forward as he has done when he's been able to on these occasions. On this time, just got a bit too much on it.
He's got a good left foot, Haynes. We've seen that a couple of times. Got a very good long throw as well, but just not really been able to get that kind of possession. As we see a touch map for Jack Wilshere, well, I think that's the quintessential midfielder's touch map, isn't it? He's hardly gone out wide at all. Everything's through the middle, and there's a good sort of plethora of these touches of the ball sort of between the halfway line and the edge of the opponent's penalty area.
Yeah, definitely where you want him in this kind of scenario for West Ham. And as we've said tonight, scored the goal in the first half. He was struggling a little to get fully into it. Probably it's about 10 years since he scored his last one. He was 16 years old on his debut in the League Cup, according to the stats on half time.
His last League Cup
goal, yes, when he was a young player.
Well, you could argue that he was always being tipped as a first team Arsenal player, so he never made too many League Cup appearances. I suppose he wasn't much of a goal scorer with Arsenal anyway. Even if you take the injuries aside, he didn't get as many goals, I think, as he would have liked. But just to say that Aston Villa certainly aren't going to fall for any banana skin this season. They've now gone 4-0 up away to Crewe Alexandra. And the goal scorers there, Konza and Hurahan with 2 before half-time, and now it's Young Davis with a goal to make it 4-0 for Aston Villa as they thrash lowly Crewe. Brighton are now 1-1 with Bristol Rovers. Connolly had given Brighton the lead before Nichols has got the equaliser for Crewe. Leeds are back in it, now only 2-1 down at home to Stoke City. But just looking, well, we've still got that potential shock in the Carabao Cup this evening with Crawley still 1-0 up at home to Norwich. And looking at that Norwich team, well, he's made changes, of course, as you would expect, Daniel Farke, but it's still a strong enough team to be winning away at Crawley. It'll be disappointed if they go on to lose that one.
Yeah, it won't be a disaster for Norwich, but an annoyance for Daniel Farke, as he says. But the ball is picked up in midfield by Newport in our game as they look for a way back into it. Maloney clears one over the top. Abrahams had made the break away from the defence, but the ball little overhit and bounces all the way through to Roberto, who can pick it up and then rolls it out to Wilshere on the left-hand side, finds Creswell. A little bit of interplay between him and Felipe Anderson before a meaningless ball forward is then hacked downfield by Howkins. Spanman will chase it because the spin of the ball might keep it in, and he does well to keep it in play and find Abrahams as well in the left-hand edge of the penalty area. He tries to pull it across. His attempted cross is charged down by Bob Weiner, and all of a sudden West Ham are on the attack, on the counter-attack, but nowhere to go just for the second. They'd run out of players as Fornals went forward. Here's Zabaleta, pushed it down the line for Snodgrass. He looks up inside, wants somebody to make some movement. Felipe Anderson's come into a more central position over these last few minutes and now has possession of the ball right in the middle of the field. He'll try and lift it up over the top for Snodgrass, headed away by O'Brien. On as far as the Yeti, who thinks about a shot, then checks back. West Ham still in possession and comfortable with it as Zabaleta rolls it into the path of Snodgrass, right on edge of the penalty area, checks back onto his left, lifts it into the far post. It goes over the head of Ayeti, who looks round behind him as if to say, right, who's on the end of that, and realises the answer is nobody.
Nobody. You see that sometimes, don't you, where the player picks out a great cross and it's only after he's picked it out he goes, well, who's going to hit it? Actually, there's nobody there to hit it. As we see Lenny Lawrence there, the sort of he's a consultant, isn't he? That's the title they've given him there to work alongside Michael Flynn. I don't know whether it's Cardiff or Newport. He always likes to have a sort of a managerial role in South Wales, doesn't he, Lenny Lawrence? But it's been a tough evening for Newport. Really, they're paying for the fact they didn't take those chances in the first half. It's such, you see it so often where the underdog, the unfancied side get a chance, sometimes out of nothing, and then when they don't take it, eventually the favourites just settle down, bed into the game, and that's what's happened this evening.
Yeah, it will look like a comfortable victory for West Ham if it stays at 2-0, but it was certainly anything but in the first 45 minutes. But second half, West Ham have really dominated and shown a bit more class and a bit more control in this game. Lewis Collins, I think it was, who was about to come on for Newport County. Michael Flynn's just called him back from the side after the brains trust with Lenny Lawrence and his other coaches as well. It will be West Ham though in possession at the moment with Zabaleta. They're just trying to take anything out of Newport now, just playing the ball around across the halfway line. Snodgrass whips the ball onto that left hand side. Cresswell finally takes it down with about the third or fourth touch and finds Felipe Anderson. He's got nowhere to go though, but he does find Wilshire, and this is comfortable now from West Ham. Newport still playing the same way that they were before, but that means they're sitting a little deep now to try and get themselves forward into any kind of attacking position as Zabaleta heads off towards the corner flag on the right hand side. A little early to start the time wasting, so he brings it back in field again. There's Fornals going backwards though for the moment. Again, there's plenty of possession. It's really comfortable for West Ham, and this is more what you expected from the game overall. We saw flashes of this kind of possession in the first half as well, didn't we? But not for any sustained length of time, really.
No, that was the problem, wasn't it? That it didn't really get to lead to much as the ball was played through by Felipe Anderson, and it wasn't too far away from Ayeti getting on the end of that. But Newport struggling now, really. As soon as they block a West Ham attack at the edge of their own area, they can just clear it forward a few yards, and West Ham can come again.
Yeah, Sanchez is coming into his own now, isn't he? Every ball forward is just sitting there on the centre circle inside the Newport County half, and every time a ball comes out of defence, he's there, picks it up, rolls it off to the side, starts the possession again for West Ham, and then Fornals and Wilshire are running the game in midfield as it stands at the moment. So 14 minutes or so left to go. So about one substitution for Newport County to come, couple potentially for West Ham.
Doesn't seem to be much movement on that West Ham bench though. It's almost as though Pellegrini wants this team to sort of see out the game now.
Yeah, maybe he does, and maybe that's not a bad idea unless one or two people are starting to tow. He has got three substitutes warming up behind the goal, and Nick Townsend is defending off to the right hand side, but no signs of any of those three being called back at the moment as Cresswell goes away down the left hand side. Little flick inside, finds Fornals. Good ball towards Snodgrass inside the penalty area. Takes a couple of touches, finds Zabaleta. His shot though is charged down by O'Brien on the edge of the box.
Yeah, ideally it would have been the other way around because it ended up on Zabaleta's left foot. So if you're going to have Zabaleta shooting on his left foot, he's better off laying it off to Snodgrass, who's got a fantastic left foot. In the end, Snodgrass just uses left foot for a 3-yard pass, which probably wasn't the best option for him there. But again, it's a good play there from West Ham. They're finding the space around the Newport penalty. If they're going to have a decent fist at turning this into a contest in the last 15 minutes, though, side, they've just got to try and keep a bit of midfield position. They've just won it back by chance, but they lose it almost straight away.
I don't know if you're a West Ham fan, you won't agree with this, but a little something from Newport would certainly spice up the next 12 minutes or so of the game, but no real signs of it so far. Roberto's made a a couple of straightforward saves so far in this second half, but nothing that would really trouble him or his defenders. Certainly over the last 10 minutes or so, we've certainly seen West Ham start to dominate this game, as Snodgrass again gets possession just inside the centre circle, inside the Newport half. It's rolled forward to Wilshere down the right hand side. He checks back inside. It's walking pace stuff now from West Ham, and Newport looking a little jaded, really able to chase them down as they were in the first 45 minutes. Certainly Zabaleta pops up in acres of space on the right hand side, but again he overhits the cross. It's not particularly well cleared by Newport, but it will fall only to Cresswell wide on the left hand side. Here's support inside him from Felipe Anderson, who turns away from the penalty and then plays a nice ball down the left hand side for Fornals, one of the goal scorers, along with Wilshere, who's now in possession, although he allows the ball to run to Sanchez. Centre of the field, 35 yards out, ball to Snodgrass, and out wide to Zabaleta, and we're starting to see the all hands just take control of the game now, slow the pace right down to training ground stuff. And Newport at the moment look like a side that's kind of had enough. I think if it's 1-0, you see a little bit more pep in this Newport County pressure.
Absolutely, yeah. As it is now, West Ham are just easy on the ball. They're moving it from one side to the other. Newport have just dropped off a little bit, and you can see that their belief has gone a little bit, because they know they're in a difficult position in this game, and here come West Ham again.
Yeah, Snodgrass down the right hand edge of the penalty area. He needs support behind him. Finds Zabaleta again. Pops up on the edge of the penalty area. Newport clear, but nobody downfield anymore in an amber shirt, and the ball just bounces its way apologetically through towards Roberto in the goal, who controls, taps it away to his defenders, and then wanders back into his penalty area. We are going to see a substitution from both sides now. We can see some movement on the bench, too far away to be able to tell you who it is just at this second. As we say, we did see Lewis Collins get called back from Newport's point of view. We haven't seen who the man is who's left the other two behind the goal for West Ham at the moment, so we'll confirm those in a second or two as challengers come in on the halfway line. And on this occasion, Bennett manages to get a toe end in and push it forward, but Abrahams can't get to it now. He's looking a little tired up front and can't really chase things down. But it's picked up by West Ham again on their right hand side. Here goes Snodgrass. He's got support from Zabaleta, a little back heel into the path of the West Ham captain. Comes back to Fornals. Now Wilshere in space, central position, wants to get a strike on goal, does get a strike on goal, and it bends away from Nick Townsend, but also away from his left hand upright and behind for a goal kick.
Absolutely, yeah, away for a goal kick in the end. As we see the shot coming in, the goalkeeper was diving across, but it always looked like as though it might be going wide. Wait to see if we're going to see any changes now, and that change is going to come in for Newport. It looks like it's Robbie Wilmot to go off and Lewis Collins to come on in his place.
Yeah, Wilmot, I think, has just run out of steam a little bit, and he worked really hard in the first half, but can't keep that intensity up. So the chance for Lewis Collins to come on at least for the last few minutes anyway, and just see if he can do a little bit of something. And Jack Wilshere's evening is going to end. He's done his job, I think, from that point of view. Scored the goal as well. One of the younger lads, Connor Coventry, will be the one who will come on for West Ham, wearing the number 54 shirt. So he passes on the message as to the fact that it will be two in midfield alongside Sanchez with him, one presumes. So Coventry is on, and it's Jack Wilshere, who, having scored the goal in the first half and dominated the game in the second half, comes off. But on this occasion, Sanchez, his former midfield partner, loses possession, but he gets away with it because Newport have had to go backwards before they can do anything from an attacking point of view, with so many West Ham players around. But they still have possession down their left hand side with Sheehan, who again, another one we've not really mentioned in this second half.
So with under 10 minutes to go at Rodney Parade, it is still West Ham who lead by 2-0. The sting has gone out of the game a little bit. The home side is sort of going through the motions, doing what they can to stop West Ham from playing, and they're obviously not making it easy for West Ham, but they can't really do too much themselves in attack. They've made a final change with Robbie Wilmot replaced by Lewis Collins. West Ham have made their second change as well, with first goal scorer Jack Wilshere going off to be replaced by youngster Connor Coventry. But Pellegrini will be pleased with the way his side are playing now. They're just moving the ball around in midfield. Potentially they could have had a bit more killer instinct. There was a good chance for Snodgrass, good chance for Zabaleta as well, but ultimately they couldn't really test goalkeeper Nick Townsend. Wilshere had a good shot as well, which went just wide just before he went off. It's still Newport County 0, West Ham United 2.
And the ball back with Roberto, but he has plenty of time to play it out towards Balbuena on the right hand side. If you want to know, give yourself a little hope. Last 4 goals this season for Newport County have all come after the 81st minute, so they're certainly not a side that gives up in that sense, although the quality of opposition may not have been quite as high. They did beat Gillingham in the last round, with a couple of the goals coming late in that one as well, so it's not all over this game. And Diop's giving away a free kick inside his own half, which Newport County will look to again to put the big men up from the back, get themselves into the penalty area, see what they can create.
Absolutely, they then get a goal here, then all of a sudden it gets a little bit nervy for West Ham, as Tristan Abraham and Issa Diop having a bit of a conversation. I do wish we had mics on the field sometimes, just to hear what the players say to each other, but of course it'd have to be broadcast at about midnight to be able to get that to be able to get that sorted. But we've got a few minutes to go now. The ball's just gone out of play momentarily. The referee is just waiting for and overall I think Steve is saying Mickey Flynn, will he be disappointed with the way his side have played this evening? I think he would say they've given it a good account of themselves, and if they can use this kind of form for the league game at the weekend, then it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I think so. From that point of view, as the free kick comes in, it's cleared away for a second, and will be out of the penalty area up towards the halfway line. But the ball bouncing around just at the moment on the edge of the penalty area. Although as Newport come forward, there's a flag up on the far side, and it will be out of play for what would have been a goal kick anyway. But on this occasion, it's gone flashing straight out, and the flag was already up with 5 minutes to go. Then West Ham leading by 2-0. The goals from Wilshire in the first half, Fornals in the second half. Neither of them will live long in the memory, to be honest with you. Newport's the first goal coming from a Newport mistake that Wilshire capitalised on to score. The second one a rather scrappy encounter that Fornals poked home from the edge of the 6-yard box, but won't matter for West Ham. It's just the run through to the next round is all that counts for them, as Felipe Anderson powers down towards the byline, left hand side. Little back heel trying to find Cresswell, but too many defenders around, and the ball is cleared away long downfield, looking up towards Abrahams. Balbuena gets there before the ball bounces though, and picks up possession for West Ham. Sanchez almost loses it, then gets it back from Collins inadvertently, so it'll be out of play for a throw in to West Ham just on the halfway line. And Sanchez inevitably will take plenty of time over this one, as Aaron Cresswell goes into Jack Leach mode at the moment. He's just taking as long as he possibly can over fastening his laces. No rush to do anything else, no rush to get the ball back into play, and eventually he will take the throw in. And rather fortunately for West Ham's point of view, a mistake only runs the ball out of play, so it will be a throw in rather than anything more dangerous to Newport County. It's only 5 yards or so inside the West Ham half, right hand side. As McNamara looks for somebody to come short, he gets a pass back to him that was well and truly overhit from Bennett, but manages to keep possession, chips the ball over the top looking for Abrahams, but again much too far, straight into the hands of Roberto in the West Ham goal. And apart from the one he tipped onto the bar, which was possibly going over anyway, can't remember anything else for Roberto to do.
No, he's had a couple of crosses to catch. He was, of course, beaten for the one that Abrahams couldn't quite get to at the far post. But, you know, it's been a very quiet evening for him. You can't say that about the Crewe Alexandra goalkeeper. He's had a very busy night. Aston Villa now 5-1 up away at Crewe. They were 5-0 up at one stage, but Winter was pulled one back after Gilbert had made it 5-0 to Aston Villa. So they're going through absolutely no problem at all. It's still 1-0 to Crawley against Norwich. So that is potentially going to be a shock result this evening, with a League Two side looking at a Premier League team. But West Ham just losing possession inside their own half. Carlos Sanchez clearly giving a free kick away there, and this is an opportunity for Newport now.
Yeah, good position as well. We're on about 25 yards out from goal. It was Lewis Collins, the substitute, who just flicked the ball back inside, and then Sanchez, who was sliding across, just whipped the ankles away from him. No complaint from the West Ham man. Clear free kick. Referee just waited a second or two to see if there was any advantage to Newport, but there wasn't. So it will be a free kick in fairly central position. It's about the right hand side of the D, about 25 out. Haynes and Sheehan are the two who are over it at the moment. His mighty fancy his chances of throwing this one in should the need arise, but it will have to be the feet of the fullback.
It will have to be, but we mentioned he's got a decent left foot on him, and Sheehan with his right, just thinking it's quite a long way out to have a shot, but then it's quite central, so it's not easy to get across in either. So I suppose it's that balance. It does look as though the way the two men are shaping up to this, that they are going to try and shoot rather than get across in. Run up there, and a shot coming in from Haynes, and it's not too far away at all, but it's just wide of the top corner.
Yeah, he got the height right, just didn't quite have the direction on that occasion. Roberto was scampering across to try and get there. We look at the curve again, yeah, a little bit, well, a couple of feet away in the end.
It was always too high, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just going a little bit too high, and then it curls away at the very last second as well. So in the end, no danger there for Roberto. A couple of minutes to go, plus injury time in this game. And we can see Michael Flynn again. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with the result, but I think the application from his team, to take out the mistake in the first half and take out the goal in the second half, there were chances for Newport. You would have said that they probably were value for a draw maybe at half time.
Yeah, and you can see what the potential is of this Newport side as well in League 2 this time around. They didn't quite make it last time. In terms of promotion, they will fancy their chances again. Perhaps we shall see. But from their point of view, some good signs for Newport, particularly in that first 45 minutes. They created chances, they caused West Ham problems, and they dealt with everything that West Ham had to throw at them.
They did, they absolutely did. Gee, you're right, and I think that overall Newport would mind you, West Ham have just given the ball away in their own half, and a strike coming in. The ball was given away at the edge of the West Ham penalty area, and it drops. I think it was that Sheehan coming in on that right hand side. He gets into the box, and his shot crashes off the bar and away.
Yeah, Roberto plays it out to the youngster Coventry, who tried to turn away and didn't realise that Sheehan was racing in, and he rattles it off the angle of crossbar and post, and it goes over. Roberto is beaten completely.
He's nowhere near that, Roberto. He didn't even attempt to dive up to it, and as I say, that's a bit of a wake-up call there for young Connor Coventry. I mean, that touch of his wasn't good there at all. I mean, even at youth level, dare I say, you shouldn't expect to have that much time on the ball, but at any professional level, you're always going to get robbed of it there.
Yeah, a little call may have helped as well for the youngster, but nevertheless he will learn, and you learn from things like that very rapidly, and he will have to do that. But just settling himself in to midfield, as we see Jack Wilshere sat on the bench. I suspect that means he'll be man of the match. He is.
Well, he had the second most touches in the game. He had the second most amount of shots. Well, of course, he scored, and he had 2 shots on target. So he's had a good game this evening, Jack Wilshere. And I think, obviously, long term, the plan is, of course, that he should be in that starting 11 in the Premier League. He's certainly good enough in terms of his ability. It's just a case of him getting the form and the fitness.
Yeah, certainly the fitness is one of the issues, isn't it, for Jack Wilshere? But he's got through a decent number of minutes here, 3 of them still to go as we tick over the 90-minute mark. That's what's gone up on the board from the 4th official. I'm still waiting to see if we can get a shock anyway. It looks like Crawley are the only ones who are still in the hunt, because Brighton have just gone 2-1 up.
Brighton aren't even going to go to penalties with Bristol Rovers, it would seem, having taken the lead and then been pegged back. They have now gone in front in injury time, and looking across their leagues, were 2 down at home to Stoke. It's now 2-2 in that game, so that is one of the few games that's going to be going to extra time. In fact, that's the only game that's going to extra time that I can see this evening.
Straight to penalties, though.
In fact, I beg your pardon, straight to penalties.
Yes, it will be the old shootout at Ellen Road, and we shall see confirmation.
I was going to say it's important what end you choose at Ellen Road, but then I suppose it is, because the Leeds fans are behind both of the goals, aren't they? The away fans are in the corner these days, so it's makes little difference. You're going to get distracted whichever way you go. But yeah, we've got about 2 minutes to go of injury time, and it's another free kick to Newport with a chance to get the ball into the box.
Yeah, just going to throw this one in, see what happens, and put it in the lap of the gods as to whether it falls to one of their players in the area. It's a poor free kick though on this occasion. It's cleared away easily from the edge of the box. Sanchez though makes a bit of a mess of trying to get it away, and Sheehan nips in, but again frustratingly for him, the luck doesn't go with him, and the ball spins out of play for a West Ham throw in midway inside their own half of the field. And Zabaleta will take approximately 1.5 minutes, I would suggest, over this throw in.
Yeah, he'll bounce it a few times, he'll deliberately stand in the wrong place and then be sent back, but in fact he's done both of those things already, but the referee didn't seem to mind, and the ball is now back in play. Just over a minute of injury time to go in this game. And again, it's a job well done for West Ham. Ham. It's never easy. It's a bit of a thankless game, really, isn't it, being a Premier League side playing away at League Two? Because, of course, if you win, regardless of the scoreline, people say, well, you should have won. And if you don't win, then, of course, 1,000 questions are asked. So it's always important just to get through the game with a good result. And now, a ball over the top here, potential for Felipe Anderson.
Yeah, he's taking it down towards the penalty area, left-hand side, pulls it back across. Ayete tries to flick it in. It's blocked by the defender in front of him. He gets it back onto the edge of the area for Coventry, who has a shot at it. That's blocked. He almost gets a second chance, and the ball is hooked away from him by Bennett, but still a chance for Felipe Anderson on the edge of the box. Then to Zabaleta, who might fancy his chances for a shot, but he rolls it instead towards the youngster Coventry again, and West Ham now will just keep possession and turn away from the penalty area. No need for them to force the issue. With only seconds remaining in the game, they'll push it forward towards Snodgrass. He finds Coventry, and that will be enough. Coventry again turns away from the penalty area and just rolls it back to Sanchez, and it's possession stuff now as the referee takes a little look at his watch. This should be about it, I think, when this attack peter out. Well, we're going to say peters out. It's already petered out. They've gone backwards again towards the halfway line. It's lovely keep ball stuff from West Ham, although it's no use at all from an attacking point of view. It doesn't matter. It ticks over the final seconds of the game, and it's West Ham who go through to the next round. The goals from Wilshere and Fornals. 2-0 victory for the Hammers over Newport County.
Right, so it's finished 2-0 to West Ham. So West Ham through to the third round of the EFL Cup. So if you're new to the channel and you are going to leave now because it's full time, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to do loads of West Ham and Newport related streams throughout the season. We're probably going to do a West Ham game next month. Let me just have a look. Before we look at the stats, we look at all the other results. Yeah, Monday 16th September, Aston Villa v West Ham, I'll do. West Ham v Man U, I most likely will do as well. So we've got probably two, but I'm not sure. 1 or 2 West Ham games next month. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel. But we're going to look at the match stats for this game. It's finished 2-0, goals by Jack Wilshere and Fornals. The match stats: 27% possession for Newport, 73% for West Ham, 13 shots for both teams, 4 shots on target for Newport, 6 for West Ham. 5 corners for West Ham, 4 for Newport. So pretty even game. West Ham having more possession and obviously taking their extra 2 shots on target. But we're gonna look at every other result. So Burton are through to the next round. They win 4-0. Maybe they'll get to the semis again. We'll have to wait and see. Probably not, but see how well they do this year. Aston Villa are 6-1 up against Crewe. Almost like, well, they are going to go through. Grimsby v Maxwell got postponed. Leeds pulled it back from 2-0 behind to level it up against Stoke. So that's going to go to penalties. Nottingham Forest won 3-0 against Derby. Preston winning 2-1 against Hull. Rochdale winning 2-1 against Carlisle. Sheffield United winning against Blackburn. Brighton beat Bristol Rovers 2-1. Luton win 3-0 against Cardiff. Crawley are winning 1-0 against Norwich. Crystal Palace drawing 0-0 to Colchester. Southampton 1-0 up against Fulham. Millwall 2-1 up against Oxford. Reading beat Plymouth. MK Dons beat Southend 4-1, and Watford beat Coventry 3-0. So most of the games have finished. A few that haven't finished yet. There's 4 minutes left of this game. See if Crawley can hang on. But I'm gonna end the stream probably now. So thanks for watching. And the next stream will be tomorrow. I will do a stream for Lincoln versus Everton. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel. Thursday we're doing Champions League draw. Friday we are doing the Europa League draw, and then Cardiff v Fulham. And then Saturday we'll do probably Bristol City Middlesbrough, and then Chelsea Sheffield United and Burnley Liverpool. So we've got loads of streams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more streams this week. So hopefully